Commissioner's discussion was prompted by state lawmakers recently reducing the buffer to 100 feet and allowing an unlimited number of shops in each of the state's counties. Chairman Randy Netherland said he would still like to limit the number of shops and not have a, quote, free-for-all. The commissioners agreed to limit the number of marijuana shops to 2 in each of the county's 3 urban growth areas of Shelton, Allen, and Belfair. That would limit the number of recreational marijuana retailers to 6. The county has 4 recreational pot shops. Troopers in the District 8 region, which includes Kitsap, Mason, and Grays Harbor, are starting active enforcement of the new marijuana open container and vehicle law. The law went into effect late last month, which makes it illegal to consume or carry open containers of marijuana or marijuana-infused products in vehicles on a highway. Open means the original package, container, or receptacle that has been opened and the seal broken or contents partially removed. Sergeant Scott Gordon, based in Bremerton, advises that his troopers are seeing violations and are currently taking an educational stance with violators. But Gordon cautions that his troopers make individual enforcement decisions and actual tickets are possible at any point. It is a traffic infraction to violate the new law and carries a $136 fine. Motorists can legally carry open marijuana and infused products only in the trunk of the vehicle or in areas of the vehicle not normally occupied or directly accessible by the driver or passengers. KMAS Newsradio is hosting 2 debates and a candidates forum. The second debate between Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler is this morning at 8 a.m. on Daybreak, moderated by Jeff Slakey and Dale Hubbard. The political forum is next Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. at the Mason Transit Community Center in Shelton. You're invited to attend the forum in person or listen to our live broadcast on KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, or online at KMAS.com. Candidates running for local offices, Mayor of Shelton, Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Port of Shelton Commissioner, and 4 positions on the Shelton School Board will be at the forum. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
This is Men's Health Live from Men's Health Magazine.
Lou, how do we account for this nation full of heavy people?
We eat a lot of foods that our bodies simply, throughout our evolutionary history, we haven't encountered these. Our grandparents didn't encounter these foods. In a lot of cases, our parents didn't encounter these foods. So we have absolutely no defense mechanism.
Men's Health Live, the radio show that's full of tons of useful stuff. From the biggest and best-selling men's lifestyle magazine in the world, Men's Health.
Ascend Roofing Company in Shelton's on top of it. 868-2730. Roofing work that speaks for itself.
Hey, just a little note to say thank you for the outstanding work that you, Dennis, and especially Jorge and the crew performed for us on our roofing project. On a scale of 1 to 10, we rate it at 10.5. It was a fantastic feeling from start to finish. Your company is a first-class operation and will definitely give your name to all of our friends and family if they're in need of your services.
You could be the next happy customer by calling Ascend Roofing. 868-2730.
Teams power their way to playoff victories on a historic Monday in baseball. I'm ABC's Michelle Franzen reporting on sports. A power stroke in New York.
Left field and deep. Forget about it. Home run. Yoenis Cespedes.
WOR on the call. Cespedes hit that 3-run shot. Final score 13-7. Mets over the Dodgers. New York leads the series 2-1. Chase Utley eligible to play as he appeals his 2-game suspension. Didn't get a warm welcome on KLAC.
As you might imagine, Chase Utley was booed about as loudly as any human being I've ever heard being booed.
At Wrigley, Cubs beat the Cardinals 8-6 to take a 2-1 series lead.
This ball's back to the wall. Gone. Home run, Kyle Schwarber.
On WBBM, Schwarber hit the first of 6 Cub homers, the most ever by one team in a single postseason game. The 8 combined in the game is the most ever in a single playoff match. Thursday saw 21 homers across 4 playoff games, the most of any postseason day in MLB history. This is ABC Sports. The Royals are headed back to KC after a 5-run 8th inning, down 6-2, and Alex Gordon ground out scores the go-ahead run. Then Eric Hosmer did this.
Deep into right center field. It is gone.
On KCSP, a 2-run shot. Royals win 9-6, Game 5 Wednesday. The Blue Jays beat the Rangers 8-4 Monday behind 3 home runs. Series is knotted at 2, headed back to Toronto. Marcus Stroman will face Cole Hamels in Game 5 Wednesday. To football, Chargers in Pittsburgh Monday. With 5 seconds left, the Steelers hand the ball to Le'Veon Bell in the Wildcat formation.
Inside the one. Here's the snap.
He's got it. He's got
Off the left side comes Le'Veon Bell. He gets to the top. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
Bill Hargrove on 970 AM ESPN. Bell scores as time expires, 24-20 final. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC Sports.
Well, good morning to you. Sports time now. Daybreak with Jeff and Dale. Carol's in here one more time. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Doing well on this Tuesday morning looking at sports. We heard just all about it in ABC Sports, but we did have an NFL football game on the radio last night, and Pittsburgh beat San Diego 24-20. Our next NFL game will be the Seahawks this Sunday.
Yikes.
Yikes, indeed. As the Panthers come to town, we'll have more on that in just a little bit. No word yet on a replacement for Lloyd McClendon, the Mariners coach. He was fired last week by the new GM, Jerry DiPoto. Also, DiPoto has been making a lot of moves in the minor league system as well, cleaning up some of the coaching positions, bringing in his own gang. So we'll have information when we get it on all the moves the Mariners are making there. Moving now to the prep scoreboard for you in girls swimming yesterday. Shelton beats Lincoln 113-44. Boys tennis, Charles Wright Academy 3, Olympia 2, Yelm 3, Tumwater 2. Shelton sports schedule for today and tomorrow is boys tennis today against Bellarmine Prep at Bellarmine Prep. That's at 3:30. Girls soccer is taking on Capital today, and the varsity squad takes on Capital at Ingersoll at 7. In volleyball, Wilson is the host to the High Climbers, and 4:45 is what time the varsity volleyball game gets on today. Tomorrow, cross country at Capital, Olympia, Timberline, Shelton, and Capital will all be in attendance. This week, we have 2 high school football games for you. Thursday night, in a rare Thursday night game, the High Climbers head to Lacey to take on North Thurston at South Sound Stadium. Then Friday, a major matchup of undefeated teams. Olympia and Gig Harbor, both 6-0, will be at Ingersoll Stadium. KMAS, the only place you can hear that one. AM 1030, FM 103.3, and KMAS.com. Again, Thursday night football, KMAS 6:45 pregame, Shelton at North Thurston. So Shelton plays on Thursday. That's why we won't have the Shelton game on Friday night.
Okay, what was that again?
Okay, so Thursday night, Shelton plays. We will undoubtedly get calls. Why you got an Olympia team on there? Thank you for listening. Shelton played Thursday. Saturday, Oregon State comes to the Palouse for the Cougar homecoming, and Sunday, Seahawks host the Panthers. As we mentioned at the beginning of the report, pregame at 11, and then Sunday night football follows. But we got to get there first. Let's find out what the forecast is like. Here's Carol.
Well, Jeff, right now it is 55 degrees out. So if you're wondering if you should even need a coat today, well,
it's nice this morning.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. We do have a chance of a morning shower, but it'll be mostly cloudy, leading to partly cloudy this afternoon, and it's going to get to a high of 63. Tonight, same, partly cloudy. We're having an overnight low of 41. Tomorrow, about the same, but then it's going to break into a sunny afternoon, and we should reach a high of 65. Thursday and Friday, clouds and sunshine, highs in the low 70s. Friday night turns into some light rain, but the weekend looks to be mostly cloudy, highs in the low 60s. Some showers are called on for Saturday. Sunday, mostly dry until the evening when showers start up again and then evolve into a steady rain that continues into next week.
It's not a bad little forecast.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line by email or Facebook. Now, from the southernmost tide pool of Puget Sound, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, right, good morning to you. It's 6:15 here at KMAS. We're all excited. In about an hour and 45 minutes at 8 o'clock, we'll have a mayoral debate for you here on the radio. Carol and I will welcome Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler for a fun little conversation, about a half hour long, and we'll get to know both of the candidates and their kind of, well, the ways that they could either continue to run the city in Gary's case or start to run the city in Maryland's case. And then tonight, the big Democratic debate is on at 5:30. We got a bunch of calls yesterday, actually, from as far north as Seattle. Cord cutters across the state are going, oh, man, I cut the cord and now I can't watch the debate.
Right.
Well, we got it for you.
I know. And I got another phone call yesterday afternoon about, are you guys going to have the Democratic? I'm like, yeah. And then it's like, well, did you guys have the Republic ones? Yes. And we will have the rest of those.
Yep.
Correct?
Yeah,
So,
I was able to secure the rights to all the rest throughout the rest of the whole cycle till next November.
Oh, boy.
It's a long time, year and a month. Woof. So the big demo debate is tonight about 5:30, just after Nick's news, and we'll join Anderson Cooper live in Las Vegas at the beautiful Wynn Casino. And already Trump's saying it's going to be a yawner, going to be a snoozer.
Yeah, well.
Because I'm not going to be there.
Exactly. Maybe they'll actually talk about real issues.
No.
How boring is that?
There will be much less bluster, I'd imagine, today.
It's not going to be huge.
It won't be huge. It'll be partly huge. Bernie, that's how he says it too.
Yeah.
Huge. All right. Also today during the show at 8:30, Clayton David is coming in from the Pacific Northwest Salmon Center. Continuation of our environmentally sound programs here on KMAS. He is a salmon and steelhead biologist, and we're going to talk about the summer chum season.
Summer chum.
Because it's over, and so we got to recap. That's what's happening there at 6:17. Planned Parenthood is open for business in a temporary location in Pullman after their clinic damaged by arson last month. Planned Parenthood of Greater Washington and North Idaho says now it is booked for the next 2 weeks. Take up to 4 months to rebuild the health center. Someone threw a flammable object through the window, caused a fire. No arrests thus far.
Federal and state regulators are weighing the first major permits requested for the proposed 1.8 billion methanol plant at the Port of Kalama. The Daily News reports that Northwest Innovation Works is looking to convert natural gas to methanol, which would then be shipped to Asia for producing plastics. Northwest Innovation says the plant would create 240 permanent jobs and 1,000 construction jobs.
Why does it have to be shipped to Asia to produce plastic?
Because that's what we do. We do the raw materials here, then we ship them over there, they make it, and then we buy them all up.
We buy them back.
If you go to Toys R Us, you'll see all those plastic toys.
Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. Clallam County Sheriff's Office says a 23-year-old Tacoma man was snorkeling with some friends in Nia Bay, got tangled in a kelp bed. The victim was free diving and spearfishing with two friends on Sunday west of Nia Bay Harbor's jetty. A name has been withheld. The family needs to be notified first. That's tough stuff. You got to be careful. Even if you are the fittest of fit, things happen. Tangling in a kelp bed, probably the last thing on that person's mind. Involved in swimming, if you do it a lot, you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, out in the middle of the water.
Oh, yeah, and you're out in the middle of water. 6:19 here at KMAS. What else is happening in the news?
Well, police say a 23-year-old Lacey man shot his wife 3 times before shooting and killing himself in a Tacoma parking lot. The News Tribune reports Fidel Guevara followed his wife when she left early Sunday to stay elsewhere for the night, and she was taken to a local hospital for treatment. Officials declined to give her condition yesterday, and a police spokeswoman said the couple had been having marital problems, and Guevara's wife had been in the process of moving.
And a Mason County judge has ordered a man to pay restitution after being found guilty of altering the course of the Tahuya River. William K.O. Sr. used an excavator and bulldozer to fill the river channel near his home. Now has to pay $50 a month to the State Environmental Restoration Fund. Biologists say the man harmed several endangered species. 6:19 right now. It's about 55. As Carol mentioned, it's going to be a pretty decent day today. Any showers at all today? Not really.
They say a shower.
Singular shower?
So either you'll, I guess, catch it or you won't.
Okay. Hopefully I'm not in that area.
Right.
66 tomorrow. It's 55 right now. We'll take a break, find out some more news from the NFL. And we'll come back and talk about some other topics. Mayor debate at 8, Democratic debate at 5:30.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
I'm Spiro Ditas with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. A pair of 2-2 AFC teams took center stage Monday night as the Chargers entertained Mike Vick and the Steelers. And the game needed all 60 minutes to determine a winner. Despite struggling for most of the night, Vick put together a 12-play, 80-yard game-winning drive, capped off by Le'Veon Bell stretching over the goal line to win it 24-20 as time expired. Meantime, Phillip Rivers finished the night with 365 yards passing and 2 touchdowns to Antonio Gates in the loss. Elsewhere in the AFC West, it was not a good day in Kansas City. An MRI confirming that Jamal Charles tore his ACL and will be out for the remainder of the season. Week 6 kicks off this week as the undefeated Falcons take on the Saints on Thursday Night Football. Catch the game on NFL Network and CBS at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
A Napa guy knows not to judge a man by his car's multicolor paint job or absence of safety features. Who cares if it's technically old enough to vote and the windows are powered by the strength of your left arm? Your monthly payment is $0, and it'll stay that way. Because with over 400,000 parts and a little Napa know-how, you can keep anything on the road. She may not be pretty, but she's all yours. That's Napa know-how.
Why does analyst Dave Sims always book his La Quinta stay on LQ.com? Because he sleeps easy knowing he got the lowest price and La Quinta returns points. And when Dave sleeps easy, you know what he can do?
After a perfect presentation, Dave locks eyes with his horned adversary and he grabs the bull by the horns.
Hey, that's my line.
But don't they sound better?
Point taken. Book now at LQ.com. When you book direct, you always get the lowest price guarantee. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
I feel right at home on JohnLScott.com.
Hi, this is Dawn Pinnell from John L. Scott Real Estate here in Shelton. For a while now, I have been saying welcome home and sharing with you some great listings and some hopefully educational and interesting items of riveting radio real estate topics. We're moving our time slot to Friday at 8:55, right at the end of the morning show with Jeff and Dale. I hope you will continue to listen and that you will contact me with any of your real estate needs. I would love to help you say, I'm home.
We're the Crime Family Band. We're the Selleck Sisters. And you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale at KMAS.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here with Jeff and Dale. Carol's sitting in today and tomorrow. Thank you and hello.
Hello.
6:24.
Early in the morning.
You seem more awake than yesterday morning.
Yes, I am a little more awake than yesterday
so
morning.
Tomorrow should be even better.
That's right.
So they say. All right, good morning to you. It is Daybreak here at KMAS. We have a mayoral debate for you coming up at 8, and it's going to be can't miss. So either get to work early and tune it in, or stay late, and I'll write you a note if you need, or I don't know, do whatever you need to do. But you got to be near the radio, listening to the debate with Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and Marilyn Vogler, 8 o'clock. We'll have a great conversation about some things that are happening around the city, some news notes that we have been getting in, and it's a collection of questions put forth by us at the station, sitting around talking about things that we feel the citizenry of Shelton is talking about at their breakfast tables this morning. And we took some questions off of the candidates' various pages.
We took some subjects off the pages and turned them into questions.
That works.
Yes.
They didn't have questions on there.
No, they did not.
Boy, that'd make it a lot easier.
Yeah, it would. Ask me this.
Please ask me this. I have a great answer for you.
Have I got an answer for you?
So it's going to be much similar to last Tuesday's debate with the Commissioner of Finance, Mike Olson, his challenger, Kathy McDowell. You can still watch that and listen to it on our YouTube page or on KMAS.com. In addition to the mayoral debate here coming up in just about an hour and a half on Daybreak, we have got another debate for you happening this evening at 5:30. It's the first Democratic debate live from Las Vegas. And let's see here. I thought I had some sound clips from people getting ready for it. Now I can't seem to find it. Are you going to listen to it tonight here, Carol? Do you have interest in what these 5 folks are going to say?
I'm interested definitely in Bernie and Hillary, because are they going to, so they debate back and forth. This is a real debate, or is it more of a forum?
I want to say that because of the limited number of people, it will be similar to the CNN's, they call it the kids table debate, but I don't really feel that's a appropriate title. But it's the lower tier candidates.
The B team.
The B squad, whatever you want to say.
The format will be more similar because there was less people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also, honestly, I don't know much about the other 3 candidates, so it'll be interesting just to hear if they have anything worthwhile to say.
Sure. Jim Webb is a current senator, and he is a bit more hawkish in the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders, Democratic Socialist. Hillary Clinton, First Lady, Senator, Secretary of State. So we know those 2. Jim Webb, as I just mentioned. Lincoln Chafee, former Republican governor of Maryland. No. Well, regardless, he was a governor, and then he became an independent. Now he's a Democrat. And he'll be there. And then Martin O'Malley. He is the musician from Maryland. He's the old governor of Maryland. And yeah, it'll be nice to see some different voices, I suppose, out there. All we've been hearing from is Hillary and Bernie. So 5:30 tonight for that one. Donald Trump saying, oh, don't even worry about it.
Yeah, I know. It's not going to be anything. And then there's going to be, the empty podium.
Oh, the empty podium is still waiting in the wings behind the scenes. And just in case, Joe Biden will say, okay, fine. I'm in.
Yeah, well, it would be interesting.
Let's see what old Trumpo has to say on this one.
Well, I think it's not going to be very well rated because Trump isn't in the debate. I'm only kidding. I think it's not going to be highly rated. I think it's going to be, you're going to watch it for 10 or 15 minutes. People are going to get bored and turn it off.
So, in a sense, I agree with Trump. This will probably be more policy driven and less sniping.
Right. But what does that say about our culture?
Well, it's not good.
I know. And so what does it say about him? All he is a big reality show person.
That's what he's there for.
Yeah. And so that's all we want is entertainment. We don't really want to do anything. We just want entertainment.
We don't need policy.
No.
We don't need this. We don't need that. Senator Ted Cruz, also presidential hopeful, had something to say about this too.
I think it's going to be amusing, the debate tomorrow. It may be more questions than Hillary Clinton has answered this entire campaign.
Zing!
Yeah.
Nice zing there, Cruz. And this clip was recorded yesterday. The debate is today. It's at 5:30. We've got it for you, regardless of what these two guys have to say. We'll also have the Republican debate for you on the 28th. Where did I say they were going to be? Colorado. And throughout the rest of the... I wonder how much time will be spent ripping tonight. The DNC, Bernie and Martin O'Malley have been very vocal in the paltry numbers of debates. There's only 6. And they've been very vocal, much to the chagrin of their DNC chair, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who allegedly fired some staffer for coming out saying, yeah, there should be more debates.
Yeah, I did hear that.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The 1,000-foot buffer zone required between public schools, parks, and marijuana retailers is likely to remain the same in Mason County. The Mason County Commissioners discussed and agreed to maintain the buffer zone during a briefing session yesterday. Commissioners asked Department of Community Development Director Barbara Adkins to write a new ordinance with the buffer requirement and forward it to the County Planning Commission for consideration. The county commissioners would then reconsider the ordinance if the Planning Commission approves a new plan. The commissioners' discussion was prompted by state lawmakers recently reducing the buffer to 100 feet and allowing an unlimited number of shops in each of the state's counties. Chairman Randy Netherland said he would still like to limit the number of shops and not have a, quote, free-for-all. The commissioners agreed to limit the number of marijuana shops to 2 in each of the county's 3 urban growth areas of Shelton, Allen, and Belfair. That would limit the number of recreational marijuana retailers to 6. The county has 4 recreational pot shops. Troopers in the District 8 region, which includes Kitsap, Mason, and Grays Harbor, are starting active enforcement of the new marijuana open container and vehicle law. The law went into effect late last month, which makes it illegal to consume or carry open containers of marijuana or marijuana-infused products in vehicles on a highway. Open means the original package, container, or receptacle that has been opened and the seal broken or contents partially removed. Sergeant Scott Gordon, based in Bremerton, advises that his troopers are seeing violations and are currently taking an educational stance with violators. But Gordon cautions that his troopers make individual enforcement decisions and actual tickets are possible at any point. It is a traffic infraction to violate the new law and carries a $136 fine. Motorists can legally carry open marijuana and infused products only in the trunk of the vehicle or in areas of the vehicle not normally occupied or directly accessible by the driver or passengers. KMAS News Radio is hosting 2 debates and a candidates forum. The second debate between Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler is this morning at 8 a.m. on Daybreak, moderated by Jeff Slakey and Dale Hubbard. The political forum is next Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. at the Mason Transit Community Center in Shelton. You're invited to attend the forum in person or listen to our live broadcast on KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, or online at KMAS.com. Candidates running for local offices, Mayor of Shelton, Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Port of Shelton Commissioner, and 4 positions on the Shelton School Board will be at the forum. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Hey, car lovers, Motorhead here for Cut Rate Auto Parts. We're happy to bring you Seattle Mariners on the radio, because baseball's a family tradition that brings generations together doing something they love. Kind of like working in the garage with dear old dad, getting your car running with parts from Cut Rate Auto Parts. Your dad probably worked on his own car with his dad back in the day and got parts from us too. Cut Rate Auto Parts, celebrating 60 years of serving the South Sound community. It's a family tradition. Check out CutRateAutoParts.com today.
Cut Rate Auto Parts.
We got your part.
Free Talk Live. I have a license. That means you're protected. That's nonsense. Just because somebody has a license doesn't mean anything about their business acumen. It doesn't mean anything about their ability to satisfy their customers.
It essentially means that they paid the state money and filled out some paperwork.
Exactly. And that's all that the license means. But yet it has this aura of legitimacy to it. Oh, it's a license. This is Ian.
And this is Mark.
Join us for Free Talk Live, where anything goes, weeknights 6 to 9 on KMAS News Radio.
Good morning to you. 6:35 KMAS Daybreak. Jeff and Dale. No, Jeff and Carol. Hi, Carol.
Hey, Jeff. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks for asking. On a game heard here, KMAS last night, Monday Night Football, Pittsburgh, whatever it's called. Ben Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh Steelers, although he didn't play, beat San Diego 24-20. Our next NFL game will be the Hawks on Sunday. The Royals have forced a Game 5 against Houston in the American League divisional series. That score last night was 9-6. Baseball is always fun to watch, and Toronto is doing good. They're in Arlington. First time. So it's like the first time the Blue Jays have gotten into the postseason since they won those, was it 2 in a row, 3 in a row? In the mid-90s, the Blue Jays were a very good baseball team, and they won quite a few World Series, 2 or 3 in a row. And so not for a long time have they played in the playoffs. Well, they're in Arlington, and I guess the people of Texas in Arlington are opening the wide open arms, and they're having a good time down there. Beautiful, hot. It was 95 degrees on the game field in San Diego last night.
Wow.
I was flabbergasted, and I was taken aback. I was listening to Chad Benson it was last week when he mentioned Friday what he was going to do with his son over the week, and he said it was 100 down there.
That's crazy.
It is hot. We'll find
October.
out what it is here in just a second with Carol. No word yet on a replacement for Lloyd McClendon after being fired last week by the new Mariners GM Jerry DiPoto. Moving to the prep scoreboard for you, girls swimming, Shelton over Lincoln, 113-44. Boys tennis, Charles Wright Academy 3, Olympia 2, Yelm 3, Tumwater 2. Shelton sports schedule for today is boys tennis at Bellarmine Prep at 3:30. Girls soccer is taking on Capital at Ingersoll. The varsity will play at 7 tonight, and JV just before that at 5. Also today, volleyball. Shelton will be taking on Wilson at Wilson, and the varsity gets underway at 4:45. The C team will start at 3:30. Tomorrow, cross country, Olympia, Timberline, Shelton, Capital, all will be running around our neck of the woods, Carol, so be on the lookout. There's going to be a lot of kids running around Capitol High School.
I see it always, lots of kids.
Yeah, no, it's super cool. And then we've got some big high school football games for you Thursday night. Now, this is a change. Thursday night, the High Climbers are playing Thursday night, heading to Lacey to take on North Thurston at South Sound Stadium, 6:45 the pregame. Friday night, a major matchup of undefeated teams, Olympia and Gig Harbor, both are 6-0. Going to be at Ingersoll Stadium, KMAS, the only place you can hear that one, AM 1030 and FM 103.3. Taking a look at the forecast now. Here's Carol.
Right now it's 55, and we're going to have a chance of a morning shower sometime if you're going to get caught out in it, but it's going to be mostly cloudy throughout the rest of the day. We're going to have a high of 63, and tonight some partly cloudy, overnight low of 41. Tomorrow, we're going to start partly cloudy, and then it's going to be mainly sunny. We should reach a high of 65. Thursday and Friday, clouds and sunshine. We're going to have some rain. Friday night, light rain. The weekend's going to be mostly cloudy. Some showers on Saturday, maybe. Sunday, mostly dry. And then in the evening, the showers are going to start up again and evolve into a steady rain that continues into next week.
That's not too bad. Thank you. 6:30.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from the artesian waters of South Puget Sound, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right. 6:39 at KMAS. We'll be living the country life in about 6 minutes, but until then, let's have a fun conversation with community correspondent. Is that
Jerry?
Yeah, whatever you're calling me today, I don't care.
Hi, Jerry. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm on vacation.
You are on holiday with Dale out. It's a debate coming up in about an hour and a half or less with Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and Marilyn Vogler, his challenger. So we'll have some great conversations with them coming up. One of the things, though, that happened in the news that we are hearing about from Marilyn Foster is the 1,000-foot buffer zone required between public schools, parks, and marijuana retailers likely to remain the same in Mason County after the commissioners discussed and agreed to maintain the buffer zone during a briefing session yesterday. Now, this is a change from state law.
Yeah.
State law has dumped it down to 100 feet.
Well, only in Mason County.
I mean, come on. These folks can't even get out of their own ways.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't there for that conversation, but, the other thing about limiting the number of retail outlets in the county is, to me, suicide. What other kinds of sales do we actually have? When you look at downtown Shelton, not that you want it to be the pot store of the world, but the thing with marijuana is it is bringing in some tax revenues as proven by the state.
Listen, Oregon legalized it. 1 week, $11 million. One day, $3.5 million. Now, that's the whole state. But still, that's more than Washington and Colorado combined for a month.
Right. Well, and right now is budget time for the county and the city and the port and everybody. All of them have problems with their, with the exception of the port, of their expenses exceeding their revenues. And so what is being done to increase the revenues? And in one of the cases, and let's say the marijuana industry, they're limiting their ability to collect revenue off that commodity by limiting the number of stores and shops they have. When people can go to Thurston County and they drive there daily.
Yeah. Well,
so why would they do
tribe?
that? Mm-hmm.
When the tribe store opens, where all that money is going to go to the tribe.
Right. It will go to the tribe. It won't even go to the state. And you can bet they will be underselling what we do. So it's interesting. Maybe we should ask Senator Sheldon. He is on the board what their plans are. That might be a good question to ask him.
It just doesn't make any sense. This is a legal entrepreneurial business. The citizens voted on it. It's been going for, a year now, a year and a half. All the doom and gloom that we're all going to turn into zombie potheads has not happened. I don't see an increase in kids getting this stuff.
Right. There's certainly an increase in business when you stop and look at the port and how they've increased the size of that. And when you stop and look at that commodity versus fungi and mungi, and they're going great guns as well.
Yeah.
What's the
difference? They're both plants.
Right. They're both agriculture, so to speak. So, if we get beyond the emotional aspect of it, and I don't know, we've heard more in the news about how many people have been picked up for being under the influence of marijuana and or alcohol. When we learn we can't control somebody else's behavior, I think that will be key.
I mean, they wouldn't limit any other business. We're not going to say, we're only going to allow 2 restaurants in Belfair, Shelton.
Right. Well, my question is, they say 2 per urban growth area. So is there nowhere else in the county outside of these urban growth areas that you can have a retail pot shop?
Well, I think that they, like it or not, they do, and they're called medical marijuana.
But those are going to be becoming recreational.
Right. So I don't know if how they will address that. Maybe they don't have a business license. I mean, out in the county, you don't have to have a business license. You do at the state level, I guess, but from a county standpoint, you don't have to, which is one of the issues. Well, and that's the other thing. There's a matter of code enforcement and just how do you control all of this? So it's a matter of, instead of how we are working to restrict and control, what happens if we turned it around and look at the revenue impact that we have? I don't know what the answer to it is, but what we've been doing isn't working.
Well, the other story yesterday, and we're going to take a break, we're going to live the country life, but what I'd like you to do is stick with us and then talk about the fact that yesterday in the news with Nick, the state government crossed a milestone in its recovery from the Great Recession. The state has, for the first time, collected more tax revenue in constant dollars than it did at its recession-era peak. So it seems like the state has moved itself out of this recession from 2008 yet. And ponder this question. We'll talk about it on the other side of the break. Why does it seem like Shelton and the Mason County area is going in the opposite direction?
It's because of decisions.
I mean, it's
like were just made.
Like that decision that was just made.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm so pro-business. I'm so pro-growth. But only 2.
And not that commodity.
Right. The only growth I want.
Any kind of commodity. It's amazing to me. All right. So we'll live the country life and we'll see what else we can talk about on the other side of this break. But they apparently say the state is out of the recession. Now you look around. Does it look like it to you? I don't think so. We'll be back after
this. You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
We love hearing from our listeners and sharing their stories with you. Hi, I'm Jody Henke. Today we're featuring a family that enjoys entertaining and scaring customers on their farm as they're living the country life.
Living the country life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic and from previous shows by visiting us online at livingthecountrylife.com. We'll return to the show after these messages.
If your chicken coop is nicer than your garage, then you may have a passion for poultry. We are looking for some innovative, creative coops just like yours. Enter our Creative Coop Photo Contest brought to you by Cargill Nutrena today. 3 lucky coop owners will each receive a free Cargill Nutrena Nature-Wise all-flock feed. There are many ways to enter. You can enter up to 5 photos online at livingthecountrylife.com/Creative Coop Contest or hashtag your Coop Photo Creative Coop Contest on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, or find us on our Facebook page at Living the Country Life. View our website to browse entries and get ideas for your own poultry palace at livingthecountrylife.com/Creative Coop Contest. No purchase necessary. Contest ends at 8:59 p.m. Central Time on December 31st, 2015. Subject to official rules at livingthecountrylife.com/Creative Coop. Void where prohibited. Sponsor Meredith Corporation. Enter your coop photos today at livingthecountrylife.com/Creative Coop Contest.
Running a family farm business can be scary. Each generation has to keep up by adding to or changing the farm's direction. But if you frighten a few customers along the way, that's okay, especially this time of year. Tom Hansen of Framingham, Massachusetts, grew up on a small, diversified New England farm. They sold their produce from a farm stand and to wholesale markets. But by the mid-'80s, people weren't visiting the farm stand much anymore. So Tom figured to stay profitable, they had to bring people to the farm itself by making it a destination. He started out slow by having folks come pick their own strawberries. With that success, Tom says they've added even more ways to draw customers.
We have a corn maze that people love, and we have a tent, and we do a pick your own pumpkin field out there. We'll take you out on a hayride out to the corn maze, and you can make a day of it with your family. We're able to charge admission, and that's really been key to keeping us going.
One night, Tom and his wife Martha visited a nearby theme park called Spooky World. He said to her, "We can do this even better," and decided to add a haunted hayride to their farm. That was over 20 years ago, and now every Friday and Saturday night in October, the Hansens Haunted Hayride thrills young and old alike. It takes 80 volunteers to pull off a frighteningly good time.
The backside of the corn maze field, we have a road that goes through it, and there's a bunch of stuff that happens there. Children of the corn, the mad moonshiner scenes, and things of that nature. And then we have a girl being tortured at the stake, you know, at a big bonfire. And there's a bunch of things that happen and that try and make a little story out of the whole experience. That's been just a great thing. People love it.
We'd like to hear what makes your place special. Tell us about it at livingthecountrylife.com. I'll see you in the country.
Living the Country Life. Ideas and inspiration for your place in the country. You can find more information on today's topic, share your tips, and post photos by visiting us online.
Taylor Shellfish is a proud sponsor of the Environmentally Sound program. For 5 generations, the Taylor family's been stewards of a healthy and prosperous Puget Sound. In partnership with nature, Taylor Shellfish brings you the freshest, most sustainable shellfish you'll ever eat. Visit their store at 136 Southeast Lynch Road. Open daily from 10 to 6, and they're online at TaylorShellfishFarms.com.
Hi, I'm retired Chief Deputy Dean Byrd, and you're listening to The Daybreak Show with Jeff and Dale on KMAS.
All right, 10 to the top. We have got ourselves a great debate happening actually now. But in addition to that, in an hour and 10 minutes, we welcome Shelton Mayor Gary Cross and his challenger Marilyn Vogler for a on-air conversation, a good half-hour chat about things that are happening around the area and ways that you can distinguish the two candidates as it's election season. Tonight at 5:30, the first Democratic debate live from Las Vegas. Anderson Cooper, the moderator, will have it for you. And if you have friends that have cut the cord, as we are hearing from people all over the great state of Washington, oh my gosh, I cut my cord, I don't have cable. Now I realized I can't watch the debate, which is exactly the problem I had. And then, so what I did is I took the initiative and I said, well, I'm going to put it on this radio station that I like to listen to, KMAS. And I was out walking the dogs during the GOP debate. It was a great thing. And tonight we'll do it again at 5:30. All right, Jerry's sticking around with us here for the next 6 minutes or so. We'll have a CNBC Market Business Radio report for you. But until then, we're talking about the county. We're talking about the commission's decision not to change, to override the state's rulings on the changes of the marijuana shops. County commissioners feel that they know better than all of us. I want to know, we're talking about the medical uses of this drug, marijuana, and regardless of how you can either sit in the camp that it is a very healthy drug. It helps people. It helps kids with seizures and things like this with certain CBDs and whatevers. You may be in the camp, well, oh, it's just a bunch of Spicolis out there getting stoned. You may be under the idea that this is a gateway drug, that if you smoke pot once, now you're going to be a heroin addict or something like that. But regardless, Jerry brought up a good point. You said that people are going to do this.
Yeah, you can't control somebody else's behavior. What happens is you can inform them.
Right.
And then they make their own decisions.
You can inform them, and then you can tax the crap out of it.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that's the other edge of the sword. There's sometimes when, and I personally had that problem. Man, I was at 60s. Any drugs or whatever was just really, really bad. And I lived my life that way. And only since I've been involved in understanding the marijuana industry itself, understanding it didn't go away. We've done a whole lot of things from a governmental standpoint to make it a bad, nasty thing and cost the law enforcement people lots of money to try to control that. But we haven't done anything to put it out there and find out how people will actually behave.
Yeah, the feds won't even pay. I mean, I guess maybe now they're starting to, but for the long time, the feds wouldn't even look into medical benefits. It's always kind of word of mouth, like, oh, my buddy had sciatica and he tried some of this and it worked really well.
Well, because they couldn't figure out how to make money off of it. So that's why the whole pharmaceutical company is so much more profitable.
Yeah.
And that's another thing.
And that's really the sad part of the whole thing, is that if we can't make it voodoo, so it becomes, this bad thing that I must control, which in essence the federal government did and started the drug wars and what. And it's not that I'm saying that drugs and heroin and all that is a good thing. I'm not. It's a matter of, did we accelerate that? Did we make this attractive? It's like telling your kid, no, you can't do that. No, you can't have that. Well, their natural curiosity says, I got to know about that.
Now I need to know.
Yeah. It's like, don't touch that burner. It's hot. They don't know what hot is until they touch it. And after they touch it, then they know. And sometimes, as Carol brought up, well, we were talking that some people do become addicted to that, but not everyone. And there's a whole lot of people that have tried it that said, never mind,
Oh, yeah.
It's not my cup of tea.
And now people are finding, as a lot of the older generation is maybe moving away from the nightly snifter of brandy or whatnot, and they find that this is they've moved on. They go, well, okay, I know there's a stigma, but I'm going to try this, and then they go, whoa, what I had been taught and told for so many years may not necessarily be true. And boy, I had a good night's sleep. I wasn't anxious. If they're limiting these things, I just thought of this.
Well, I mean, it's like we talked about yesterday about the last thing you learned in school.
Sure.
Like, say we were talking about history yesterday, then that's the thing that you just think is the golden
The
rule
truth,
or
the
the
truth.
truth. And we just tell ourselves so many falsehoods, I believe.
You know, if we're so
You know.
concerned about what is going to come from this, then I don't know, why don't we limit shellfish operators, because that takes shellfish out of, I mean, we should limit those, or we should limit timber sales, because that's screwing up stuff too. I mean, there's just
not that sacred cow.
Oh yeah, no, God forbid we do that. It's just
But
it just seems like
I do want to go back to where we kind of ended our last conversations in terms of other counties are doing this. One of the things that is always done is Mason County is always compared to other counties,
Sure it is.
the surrounding counties. And you said, so why do we limit? Why do we not do this? And it's decisions that we make. And we're talking about incorporated cities. We have one incorporated city. This comparison per Senator Sheldon, also commissioner here in Mason County, is we only have the one, and there's only about 4 or 5 counties. Our surrounding counties like Grays Harbor and Lewis County are doing much better because they have 6 or 7 incorporated cities. That we need to understand ourselves, and we as a county need to deal with what we have and move ourselves forward instead of looking at the adjacent counties and like saying, I can't do that because.
Right.
Well, we may have an advantage of why we can do it better. Maybe we have a better area for growing these types of crops. And if not this one, then what? What happens is people came to us to start the industry here, and we found reasons why we couldn't versus how we could. And so that's reasons why we don't want the money. And
Good conversation.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry. All right, 7 o'clock here at KMAS. We're going to take a break, and then we'll have a CNBC radio business report for you here on Daybreak.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Peninsula Credit Union presents Phil. Phil stands for Peninsula Home Improvement Loan. Designed to help you get things done around the house, Phil can help you a little or a lot. This is not a second mortgage. With a Peninsula Home Improvement Loan, you can get 7.24% APR on a 60-month loan or 7.49% APR for 120 months. From replacing the roof to new flooring and everything home-related in between, take advantage of a Peninsula Home Improvement Loan, and Phil will help you get the job done. Call Peninsula Credit Union today. 800-426-1601. That's 800-426-1601. Or apply online at pcfcu.org. OAC. See representatives for details. Limited time offer. Additional terms and conditions may apply. Annual percentage rate is effective as of June 11th, 2014. Loan amounts from $500 to $15,000. Terms available from 60 months up to 120 months. For payment examples, call 800-426-1601.
Stocks open lower after some weak economic data coming out of China. China's imports plunged more than expected. The Dow's down 47 points, the Nasdaq lower by 13. AB InBev and SAB Miller drinking a toast to their agreement in principle to a merger worth more than $100 billion. General Electric is selling the remaining portion of its commercial lending and leasing business to Wells Fargo. Its stock is up fractionally this morning. Shares of Johnson & Johnson are down fractionally, the company reporting an earnings beat, but missed on revenues. It also announced a $10 billion buyback. Now you can truly say you buy Playboy to read the articles. The men's magazine announcing it would no longer be publishing pictures of fully nude women. The company says internet pornography made its photos of naked women passé. Chris Maurer, CNBC Business Radio.
Are you ready to take your diabetes management to the next level? Put the Contour Next meter to the test and challenge your meter. The Contour Next meter makes testing easy and highly accurate with close to lab level results. And Contour Next gives you a second chance, allowing you to reapply to the same strip when the first sample is not enough, saving you time and money. So take the challenge. Go to ContourNextChallenge.com, get a free meter, and enter to win free test strips. Contour Next. Accuracy you can trust.
As an entrepreneur, you're always on the go. So turn your mobile phone into a business phone system with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. Get a new business number or keep your current one. Sound professional with a main greeting and multiple extensions that forward callers to your mobile phone. You can even get voicemails transcribed. Join over 150,000 small businesses who stay connected with Grasshopper. See how it works at grasshopper.com. The entrepreneur.
CNBC Business Radio reports are on KMAS Shelton, Monday through Friday, 6:58, 1:33, and 4:33.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. There may be a dramatic twist at the Democratic presidential debate in Las Vegas as frontrunner Hillary Clinton prepares to take center stage and surging contender Bernie Sanders prepares to try to gain more momentum. ABC's Alex Stone tells us Vice President Joe Biden, who had been scheduled to take the train to his office in Washington, is now heading to the airport. Destination unknown.
There is one extra podium here. It's on a dolly ready to go in case Vice President Joe Biden announces at any point today that he is running for president. Our sources say it's unlikely to happen today, but debate organizers have told Biden that up until debate time tonight, they will add a podium for him if he announces his candidacy and he can join the debate.
Compulsive texting is trending among teens. A new study finds a growing number of them are over-texting their way to lower grades and lower self-esteem. Researchers say texting too much is an addiction. Life in prison without parole for convicted juveniles has already been ruled inappropriate, but the Supreme Court is hearing arguments on the consequences today. ABC's Royal Oaks explains.
The High Court already ruled 3 years ago that mandatory life without parole sentences for juveniles are unconstitutional, amounting to cruel and unusual punishment. Now the issue is, will the court apply that rule not only to future cases, but past convictions as well?
Kansas City Fire Chief Paul Barandi choked back tears as he announced the names of firefighters killed in a fire that swept through an apartment complex.
17-year veteran fire apparatus operator Larry J. Leggio of Truck 2, 13-year veteran firefighter John V. Mesh of Pumper 10. Firefighter Leggio leaves a wife, a mother, and many immediate family members.
They also say the two didn't die in vain. They saved 2 people. Twitter will be doing business in 140 characters or less, and with 336 fewer employees, the company is cutting jobs to improve efficiency. This is ABC News.
Honey, I'm really worried about our retirement funds.
Oh, me too. We lost so much value in the recession in the stock market. I'm worried we won't have enough to retire.
Jim next door told me that he had set up a new kind of IRA with a gold silver group. He said how simple and safe it was. It's a private storage IRA, and we could have real gold and silver in our hands.
Really? You mean we can actually see it and touch it?
Absolutely. Jim said we could have all the benefits of an IRA to help build our retirement income. Bottom line, we would own a real tangible asset, and we would have the security of knowing we're protected no matter what the economy does. What do you think?
I think we need to find out how to get our own private storage IRA. We need to call the Gold Silver Group right now.
Are you ready to protect your future? Call 800-295-6803 now to find out how easy and safe it is to set up a private storage IRA with Gold Silver Group and find out how you can qualify for up to $700 in free silver. All transactions are privately delivered and fully insured. Please call us now. 800-295-6803. 800-295-6803.
The Pope may not judge gays and lesbians, but the Vatican is making it clear it doesn't want them as ambassadors. More from ABC's Megan Williams.
France has abandoned its first choice of ambassador to the Vatican after the Holy See refused to confirm him. Laurent Stefanini is an openly gay man and a senior diplomat. France proposed Stefanini as ambassador in January. Usually, the Vatican takes about a month to accept ambassadors' credentials. But in this case, silence ensued. France's decision to surrender to the Holy See's silence comes a week after a Vatican doctrine official came out as gay. The Vatican fired him. Megan Williams, ABC News, Rome.
Michael Strahan says one of the secrets to his success is having a positive attitude. His new book is called Wake Up Happy, the Dream Big, Win Big Guide to Transforming Your Life. Number 1 in his 22 rules to success is help can and will come from unexpected places. Other rules include hit pause before quitting. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Shelton Health and Rehabilitation Center. Find them online at sheltonhealthandrehab.com.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The 1,000-foot buffer zone required between public schools, parks, and marijuana retailers is likely to remain the same in Mason County. The Mason County Commissioners discussed and agreed to maintain the buffer zone during a briefing session yesterday. Commissioners asked Department of Community Development Director Barbara Adkins to write a new ordinance with the buffer requirement and forward it to the County Planning Commission for consideration. The county commissioners would then reconsider the ordinance if the Planning Commission approves a new plan. The commissioners' discussion was prompted by state lawmakers recently reducing the buffer to 100 feet and allowing an unlimited number of shops in each of the state's counties. Chairman Randy Netherland said he would still like to limit the number of shops and not have a, quote, free-for-all. The commissioners agreed to limit the number of marijuana shops to 2 in each of the county's 3 urban growth areas of Shelton, Allen, and Belfair. That would limit the number of recreational marijuana retailers to 6. The county has 4 recreational pot shops. Troopers in the District 8 region, which includes Kitsap, Mason, and Grays Harbor, are starting active enforcement of the new marijuana open container and vehicle law. The law went into effect late last month, which makes it illegal to consume or carry open containers of marijuana or marijuana-infused products in vehicles on a highway. Open means the original package, container, or receptacle that has been opened and the seal broken or contents partially removed. Sergeant Scott Gordon, based in Bremerton, advises that his troopers are seeing violations and are currently taking an educational stance with violators. But Gordon cautions that his troopers make individual enforcement decisions and actual tickets are possible at any point. It is a traffic infraction to violate the new law and carries a $136 fine. Motorists can legally carry open marijuana and infused products only in the trunk of the vehicle or in areas of the vehicle not normally occupied or directly accessible by the driver or passengers. KMAS News Radio is hosting 2 debates and a candidates forum. The second debate between Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler is this morning at 8 a.m. on Daybreak, moderated by Jeff Slakey and Dale Hubbard. The political forum is next Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. at the Mason Transit Community Center in Shelton. You're invited to attend the forum in person or listen to our live broadcast on KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, or online at KMAS.com. Candidates running for local offices, Mayor of Shelton, Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Port of Shelton Commissioner, and 4 positions on the Shelton School Board will be at the forum. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
Hi, this is Alex Jones on KMAS News Radio. And I'm basically here exposing this. I told you about militarization of police 20 years ago. I told you about the plan for gun confiscation. I told you about the PDDs. Now we're far down the rat hole, and they're now want to do 10-state giant drills with plain clothes, doing, quote, suspicious things, and practicing taking over local government, practicing taking out civilians, and snatch and grabs. And of course it has dual applications for overseas. But the main mission is a PSYOP.
Gillis Auto Center in Shelton. Best deals, best price, best trade, and low payments. And when you think selection of used cars, trucks, and SUVs, think family-owned Gillis Auto Center with over 250 pre-owned vehicles available. Wait a minute. That's right, over 250 good, clean, used vehicles available. That's a huge selection. And right now at Gillis Auto Center, special interest rates and volume pricing, which means you save money. At the City Center Matlock exit and 24/7 at GillisAutoCenter.com.
Teams power their way to playoff victories on a historic Monday in baseball. I'm ABC's Michelle Franzen reporting on sports. A power stroke in New York.
Left field and deep.
Forget about it. Home run. Yoenis Cespedes.
WOR on the call. Cespedes hit that 3-run shot. Final score 13-7. Mets over the Dodgers. New York leads the series 2-1. Chase Utley eligible to play as he appeals his 2-game suspension. Didn't get a warm welcome on KLAC.
As you might imagine, Chase Utley was booed about as loudly as any human being I've ever heard being booed.
At Wrigley, Cubs beat the Cardinals 8-6 to take a 2-1 series lead.
This ball's back to the wall. Gone. Home run, Kyle Schwarber.
On WBBM, Schwarber hit the first of 6 Cub homers, the most ever by one team in a single postseason game. The 8 combined in the game is the most ever in a single playoff match. Thursday saw 21 homers across 4 playoff games, the most of any postseason day in MLB history. This is ABC Sports. The Royals are headed back to KC after a 5-run 8th inning, down 6-2, and Alex Gordon ground out scores the go-ahead run. Then Eric Hosmer did this.
Deep into right center field. It is gone.
On KCSP, a 2-run shot. Royals win 9-6, Game 5 Wednesday. The Blue Jays beat the Rangers 8-4 Monday behind 3 home runs. Series is knotted at 2, headed back to Toronto. Marcus Stroman will face Cole Hamels in Game 5 Wednesday. To football, Chargers in Pittsburgh Monday. With 5 seconds left, the Steelers hand the ball to Le'Veon Bell in the Wildcat formation.
Inside the 1, here's the snap.
He's got it. He's got
it. Up the left side comes Le'Veon Bell. He gets to the chalk. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
Bill Hargrove on 970 AM ESPN. Bell scores as time expires 24-20 final. I'm Michelle Franzen. ABC Sports.
All right, good morning to you. It's Daybreak here. KMAS, Carol's in till tomorrow.
Good morning.
Morning, and checking a look at sports. A lot of covered there from ABC, and we thank them for that. So we'll move on to no word yet on a replacement for Lloyd McClendon, the fired Mariners manager. He was let go last week by new Mariners GM Jerry Dipoto, who's cleaning house in both the Mariners and their minor league system as well, bringing in his own guys. So we'll see how Jerry Dipoto does. Side note, looks like he's still trying to sell his house. It's on the market in Anaheim if you're interested. I read a bunch of these stories about these people, and they zing in a couple of these every so often. So if you want to move down to Anaheim, I'm sure his house is very expensive. Prep scoreboard, girls swimming, Shelton 113, Lincoln 44. Boys tennis, Charles Wright Academy 3, Ole 2, Yelm 3, Tumwater 2. Shelton sports schedule for today and tomorrow. Let's see, Tuesday. So good luck to the boys tennis team as they're going to be taking on Bellarmine Prep this afternoon at 3:30. Girls soccer taking on the Cougs of Capital with the varsity squad at 7. Wilson will be hosting Shelton in volleyball. Varsity gets underway at 4:45. And then tomorrow, cross country, Olympia, Timberline, Shelton, and Capital will all be running around the area of Capital High School, 3:45 for that one. This week, big deals in high school football. Thursday night, your Shelton High Climbers head to Lacey to take on North Thurston at South Sound Stadium. We've got the game for you. Pre-game at 6:45. Now, that's a change. High Climbers are on Thursday. Friday night, major matchup of undefeated teams, Olympia and Gig Harbor, both 6-0. Both 6-0. They're going to be at Ingersoll. KMAS, the only place you can hear that game. AM 1030 and FM 103.3, as well as online at KMAS.com. Saturday, Oregon State comes to the Palouse for Cougar Homecoming, and Sunday, the Seahawks host the Panthers, pregame at 11, kickoff at 1, and then in the evening, we'll have Sunday night football to follow. Forecast, now we move to Carol.
Right now, it's 55 outside, and we have a chance of a morning shower, but it's going to be mostly cloudy, leading to partly cloudy this afternoon. We're going to hit a high of 63. Tonight, partly cloudy with an overnight low of 41, and then tomorrow we'll start partly cloudy, breaking to mostly a sunny day. We should reach a high of 65, and Thursday and Friday, clouds and sunshine, but highs are going to be in the low 70s. Unfortunately, Friday night looks to some light rain, and then Saturday, mostly cloudy. Sunday, it's going to be dry, and then the evening, unfortunately, more so, is going to be evolving into steady rain. that will continue into next week.
All right.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from where I-5 takes a sharp left toward Portland, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. 7:14 at KMAS and online KMAS.com. Daybreak with Jeff and Dale. Carol's in here with us, and we do appreciate that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You could be just sitting here all by your lonesome.
Well,
you're thinking, well, maybe
some days,
maybe that'd be a good idea.
Seem like it's all right. Mayoral debate, less than an hour from right now. Gary Krantz and Marilyn Vogler in studio, and we'll have a great chat with them about things that are happening around the community, things that impact you, and just a better chance for us to understand the two candidates, similar to our Commissioner of Finance conversation we had last Tuesday with Mike Olson and Kathy McDowell. Mike, the incumbent, and Kathy, his challenger. You can re-watch that on YouTube or listen to it on our KMAS.com. We've got links on the Daybreak page and the news tab. I think
the local news tab under the news, local news tab under the news tab.
Got it.
So it's just sort of a double click there. Or you can just do a search at the bottom. We have a search and just type in debate and it would pop it up.
Great. So in addition to the mayoral debate in about 45 minutes, we have the first Democratic debate on the radio from Las Vegas. CNN is host. Anderson Cooper, the moderator, and Westwood One and KMAS are going to be airing that for you, 5:30 tonight. Washington Governor Jay Inslee and Delaware Governor Jack Markle are joining a billionaire Democratic political donor to urge Democratic presidential candidates to talk about their plans to address climate change. They plan to join Tom Steyer on a conference call ahead of tonight's presidential debate. Steyer is a retired San Francisco hedge fund billionaire who sought to make climate change an issue during the 2014 midterms through his group Next Gen Climate Action. So we'll find out tonight if Anderson asks any questions to the candidates, which may or may not, leaning not, include current Vice President Joe Biden.
Are they going to have any live stuff, like live tweet, live Facebook questions available?
I don't know.
I mean, that would be interesting, wouldn't it?
You mean like...
Didn't they have that at one time?
Yeah. They had that in the Republican debate.
Yeah.
Remember that? They had that armed service member who was like, I'm in the armed services and I'm gay. Don't ask, don't tell. And the audience booed him.
Yeah. Well, that was a couple years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great idea to allow the audience to...
But that I thought he was in the audience.
No, it was a video.
Oh, he was a video? Okay.
This service member in the field of battle is up there talking, expressing, a very sensitive, personal deal, and the audience boos him. I wouldn't take any questions. You just don't know what you're going to get.
Well, that's true. So I'm guessing we're not going to have any Twitter or Facebook questions during the debate today.
I mean, you can tweet me all you want. I can figure out how to open the program. Maybe I'll respond. I don't know. No, I don't think there's any kind of interaction tonight. I'll go to the CNN website, which is CNN, coincidentally.com, and we'll find out more. Other news stories from around the Northwest, Carol. We have some updated information about the Palouse and Planned Parenthood.
They have opened for business in a temporary location in Pullman after their clinic was damaged by arson last month. The Planned Parenthood of Greater Washington and North Idaho say they've been booked. They are booked for the next 2 weeks, but it will take up to 4 months to rebuild the health center after someone threw a flammable object through the window, causing a fire. Right now, there have been no arrests.
And a Mason County judge has ordered a man to pay restitution after being found guilty of altering the course of the Tahuya River. William K.O. Sr. used an excavator and bulldozer to fill the river channel near his home. Got to pay $50 a month to the State Environmental Restoration Fund. Biologists say that he harmed several endangered species. 7:18 at KMAS. Mary Lynn Foster is the news for you at 7:30. And the big story that she's talking about is the county's decision to supersede the state's plans on marijuana retailers. And the buffer zone, which is at 1,000 feet. In the rest of the state, it's 100 feet. And what are some of the other things? Unlimited number of
they're accepting applications again after 2 years or whatever. Okay. And so anybody can apply. There's not going to be a lottery this year. There's not going to be a limit on the maximum amount that will apply. I mean, I don't know how many they're going to grant, but anybody basically can apply. And the restrictions have been completely reduced. So they're just, they're. And you had a story that one of our correspondents, Jeff Chu, was writing about. Yeah, well, we have it on the website, and Jeff Chu, he wrote the story. Basically, I'm guessing most of the commissioners should have a feel for how their constituents are thinking, but he quoted Tim Sheldon, County Commissioner Tim Sheldon, saying he doesn't think the county residents want pot shops everywhere, so he wants the commissioners to maintain the 1,000-foot buffer. Okay. Well, I looked how the county voted in 2012 on this. Mm-hmm. And from all signals, acceptance has grown since then. But when it comes to the vote for the county, it was a total of 15,606 yes and 12,602 no. So that's 3,004 people more that vote yes for this legalization and the shops. So who's he talking to? I don't know, but to the commissioners' credit, they haven't made a final action on it. Well, good. Do we have their phone numbers? Can we give them out? We have Are they on the website? They are not on the website, and I don't know. You can go to the Mason County Commission. I have a link to the Mason County Commission on our website under. If this is important, links, if fostering business is important to you, if you say you're pro-growth, pro-business, yet you want to limit, I'm kind of having a hard time squaring those two. Right. I found a great website actually this morning, 502data.com, all based on sales, taxes collected here in the county. $1 million so far. In 2014, it was just $125,000 because it was new. And so far this year, $900,000 excise tax collected. So, but it's bad to have these things all over the place. I guess. I'm just wondering. All right. I know. 7:21 at KMAS. We encourage you to voice your concerns. Maybe we're totally off base. Head to the commission meetings. Let them know what you think. Or you can, I think their phone numbers are on the county's website. Yes, there is a main phone number for their office hours.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom31.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom31.com. Go to freedom31.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom31.com.
Summit Pacific Medical Center is bringing back Grays Harbor's free Peak Health Wellness Fair, Saturday, October 17th from 9 till 2 at the Grays Harbor County Fairgrounds. This free event includes vision and hearing screenings, cholesterol and blood pressure checks, chair massages, and yoga. The kids can meet Sparky the Fire Dog and tour the Life Flight helicopter. There's something for everyone. Saturday, October 17th at the Grays Harbor County Fairgrounds from 9 till 2. The Peak Health Wellness Fair, sponsored by Summit Pacific Medical Center.
Hi, this is Detective William Adam at the Mason County Sheriff's Office, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on Newsradio KMAS.
All right, good morning to you. 7:24 here at KMAS. We have a mayoral debate for you in about 45 minutes, and the first Democratic debate of the season is this evening. Thank you, Carol. And Carol's in studio with us here on KMAS, KMAS.com, 724. Used to be quite the, and then Kaiser came around.
Oh, man.
Quite the runner. I mean, we were thinking about this in the early to mid 20-teens. Well, I guess it is now the mid 20-teens, but a couple years ago, Stephanie and I ran a lot.
Yeah, you guys
many half marathons.
Yeah.
I, for whatever reason, did a full marathon. Oh, that was tough. And warrior dashes, just active. And you know, at the end, you run for 4 hours at a time, and if you aren't stopping to get water, now Carol's going to refute this because this is the whole topic for this segment, but I would be running and I'd get done running and my whole body would just cramp up like a Charlie horse kind of, and it just, I mean, it's a pain. It's a literal pain. And so I thought, well, Jeff, next time you run, drink more water because you gotta be hydrated. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm. Or eat a banana or what have you.
Or some chocolate milk.
Yeah, something. Well, scientists have been looking into this phenomenon. And so because for years, sweating and dehydration causes cramps. But the latest science suggests otherwise, that perhaps it's overexcited nerve endings, probably as a result of fatigue, is what's happening inside your body. I mean, new science is awesome. I love new science because it's just like we were talking about earlier. We think we know something set in stone, and then somebody comes along and says, "No, that's not exactly how it is."
Yeah, but what happens when it's like every year the camps switch? When we were starting to learn about baby, and we go through all these baby classes. Mm-hmm. They said, well, this year's teaching du jour is that you can't have the kid wrapped up too tight. But last year, we thought, wrap them up tight. It's like you're in the womb and they'll sleep. I mean, it just goes back and forth. So how do you know what to trust? Do you always just have to be on it?
I think that it's all a work in progress. We all are learning new things all the time, but that seems to me a little bit different.
Well, for example,
than actual science looking inside doing a scientific experiment. Did they do scientific experiments with wrapping or swaddling?
Well, no, but studies suggest. You always hear pediatricians, studies suggest.
Yeah.
It's the same with coffee. And, sometimes coffee is good for you.
That's true.
And people will tout the benefits of coffee until somebody else does a study. Oh, we were wrong.
Well, you have to look at who actually pays for the study.
Good point, Carol.
Yes. And if it's the people that want you to buy coffee that are saying coffee is good for you, it could be. So, I mean, you can't really obviously believe everything you hear on the radio.
Oh, and everything I say, though.
Everything you say, though. And then you just have to look at, you obviously have to do your homework.
Sure.
I mean, that's why I love science, and that's why I love, when somebody tells me something, I'm like, well, I got to find out more information about that. Sure. Is that really? So I'll look at 10 different sources and sort of gather them all together and try to find out. I mean, obviously, I'm not a scientist, and some of the scientific jargon is a little difficult to read, but the more you get into it, the more you can sort of figure out who people are that are more, I don't know if you would call it honest, but you can find directions of what reports you can actually read that are probably more truthful. But to me, though, as we move forward into our future, science is becoming more amazing on the things that we can find smaller and smaller inside of us, and the way our bodies work and all that jazz, which I think we should know how our bodies work.
It would be beneficial.
Yes, it would.
Especially. You bring up a good point. When I often will read the very confusing, we have debates in an hour, we have debates tonight. When I read the often confusing voters guides put out by the state, and it's like a yes or no question, and you want to approve or reject it, but you're not 100% sure on the phraseology of the question. I will always go to the back of the book and look at the top 5 donators.
Yeah.
And if I politically align closer to one group or another, I'll say, okay, in first round of data gathering, looks like I'm leaning this way, in the sense that I often agree with these people who are promoting this initiative.
Right.
So that's true. That's a good point. You always got to wonder, what's the thing with the climate science going on now? There's, if you believe kind of the reports, 98% of science believes that the Earth is warming and we have something to do with it. The 2%, if you look at their backing, and they say that they're independent, but you don't know. They're paid. They get some good grant funding for their research from industry that may wish a different outcome.
Exactly. It all comes down to follow the money trail.
There you go. Good stuff. 7:30. We'll take a break. We'll be back with sports and weather, and we're gonna start coming up with questions for this debate.
You're right. Yeah.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. The 1,000-foot buffer zone required between public schools, parks, and marijuana retailers is likely to remain the same in Mason County. The Mason County Commissioner agreed to maintain the buffer zone during a briefing session yesterday. Commissioners asked Department of Community Development Director Barbara Atkins to write a new ordinance with the buffer requirement and forward it to the County Planning Commission for consideration. The county commissioners would then reconsider the ordinance if the Planning Commission approves a new plan. The commissioners' discussion was prompted by state lawmakers recently reducing the buffer to 100 feet and allowing an unlimited number of shops in each of the state's counties. Chairman Randy Netherlands said he would still like to limit the number of shops and not have a, quote, free-for-all. The commissioners agreed to limit the number of marijuana shops to 2 in each of the county's 3 urban growth areas of Shelton, Allen, and Belfair. That would limit the number of recreational marijuana retailers to 6. The county has 4 recreational pot shops. Troopers in the District 8 region, which includes Kitsap, Mason, and Grays Harbor, are starting active enforcement of the new marijuana open container and vehicle law. The law went into effect late last month, which makes it illegal to consume or carry open containers of marijuana or marijuana-infused products in vehicles on a highway. Open means the original package, container, or receptacle that has been opened and the seal broken or contents partially removed. Sergeant Scott Gordon, based in Bremerton, advises that his troopers are seeing violations and are currently taking an educational stance with violators. But Gordon cautions that his troopers make individual enforcement decisions and actual tickets are possible at any point. It is a traffic infraction to violate the new law and carries a $136 fine. Motorists can legally carry open marijuana and infused products only in the trunk of the vehicle or in areas of the vehicle not normally occupied or directly accessible by the driver or passengers. KMAS News Radio is hosting 2 debates and a candidates forum. The second debate between Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler is this morning at 8 a.m. on Daybreak, moderated by Jeff Slakey and Dale Hubbard. The political forum is next Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. at the Mason Transit Community Center in Shelton. You're invited to attend the forum in person or listen to our live broadcast on KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, or online at KMAS.com. Candidates running for local offices, Mayor of Shelton, Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Port of Shelton Commissioner, and 4 positions on the Shelton School Board will be at the forum. I'm Mary Lynn Foster, your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
I'm attorney Harold Carr. During the past 25 years, more than 8,000 people have trusted me to handle their personal injury cases. I understand how an injury can disrupt your life and cause financial hardship for you and your family. At the law firm of Harold Carr, we have 5 attorneys and 19 staff members experienced with negotiating and litigating with insurance companies. So if you feel the insurance company is not dealing with you fairly, call me, Harold Carr. Let us deal with the insurance company so you won't have to.
Car accident? Call Carr or visit us online at haroldcarrattorney.com.
Get ready. It's time to tee it up with Keith Jones.
Now, when you have a misdirected focus and you start to really worry about what other people may be thinking about you, or you're worried about your self-concept, your self-image, you're worried that you don't want to embarrass yourself on the first tee, then your mind is way, way away from where it needs to be.
Tee it up with Keith Jones. All right.
All right, good morning. It's sports time at Daybreak with Jeff and Carol's in here today, and she'll give us a forecast on the weather in just a second. In sports news, had some baseball games. They're doing their division series playoffs going on. Kansas City 9, Houston 6, Toronto 8, Texas 4. That is in the American League. On a game heard here last night on KMAS, Pittsburgh beat San Diego 24-20. Our next NFL game will be this Sunday with the Seahawks. We've got Thursday night high school football I'll tell you about in just a second. No word yet on a replacement for Lloyd McClendon. He was fired last week by the new Mariners GM, Jerry DiPoto. In the prep scoreboard for you, girls swimming, Shelton 113 and Lincoln 44. Boys tennis, Charles Wright Academy 3, Ole 2, Yelm 3, Tumwater 2. The Shelton sports schedule for today and tomorrow is boys tennis at Bellarmine Prep 3:30. Girls soccer at Ingersoll against Capital. JV at 5, varsity at 7. Volleyball is at Wilson, taking on Wilson. And it all gets underway at 3:30 with the C team, and then the varsity scheduled to be about 4:45. That's all today. Tomorrow, cross country, Olympia, Timberline, Shelton, Capital, all getting together, running around Capital High School at 3:45. Good luck to all the prep athletes today, tomorrow, through the rest of the week. We have 2 high school football games for you. Thursday night, the High Climbers head to Lacey to take on North Thurston at South Sound Stadium. Friday night, major matchup. So yeah, as I just said, Shelton is playing Thursday night. So update your calendars, clear your schedules, tune in the game, or head over to South Sound Stadium and listen to the game on the radio, AM 1030, FM 103.3. Friday night, we'll have another high school football game for you. Undefeated teams, Olympia and Gig Harbor, are both 6-0. Holy moly. Going to be at Ingersoll. KMAS, the only place you can hear that game. So tell your friends in the Olympia area, the Gig Harbor area. AM 1030, FM 103.3 comes in like a rocket now in Gig Harbor. So sounding good going on there. So Thursday night, Shelton football, 6:45 the pregame. Friday night, more high school football, 6:45 the pregame. Saturday, Oregon State comes to the Palouse for Cougar homecoming. And Sunday, Seahawks host the Panthers. That's sports. Here's Carol with the weather.
Well, right now it's still 55 out, and there is a chance of a shower this morning, but it'll be mostly cloudy, becoming partly cloudy this afternoon. We're going to get a high of 63. Tonight, pretty much the same, partly cloudy with an overnight low of 41. And tomorrow it will start out with the clouds breaking up to a mainly sunny afternoon. We're going to reach a high of 65 tomorrow. Thursday, Friday, clouds and sunshine, highs in the low 70s. And Friday night turns into just some light rain. And then the weekend is mostly dry, highs in the low 60s. Sunday night will be dry until the evening when the showers start up again, and then they're going to evolve into a steady rain, which will continue into next week.
Okay.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now from Shelton's Media Row, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It's 7:38 at KMAS Daybreak with Jeff and Carol here on KMAS. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. KMAS.com. What's going on the website, Carol? We got a lot of people commenting on various stories that we post.
So many comments on our website.
There are always some good ones.
There is, and you can send a letter to the editor. It's called Citizen Editorial. And if you go to our Citizen Editorial page, which is under our local tab, there's the email address. If you can't remember, it's just kmasnews@kmas.com. You send it in, and then it gets posted usually that day. And you have to send in your city of residence, a phone number, so we know you're real and not just an anonymous person. Like we have many, many anonymous people who comment who don't give us their real names. So Citizen Editorial, you have to give your real self up if you want to put an editorial up.
Huh.
So, and then on the front page, we have a little ticker that flashes some of the stories, so you can see them flashing if you don't see them just on the front page. You can go to the Add Your Thoughts column and look at some of the stories and see what people have commented on, like the Shelton Downtown Vision Plan results released. A lot of people commented on that.
What do you think of that? That looks pretty nice.
It looks nice, and a lot of people who attended the meetings and went through, it's all volunteer. You go and you put your time in and you try to create something for the betterment of your city. And then we get a lot of people that are negative, like, don't spend any money on that. We need to get rid of the drug problem downtown and et cetera. And I'm just like going, okay, did those people go to the meetings and address that there? Or is it easy to be an armchair?
Oh, it's very easy.
Commentator. So, I mean, it's true. People won't come down if it's not a very nice place. You can't just put a pretty ribbon on a toilet either. So
that's a different one. I haven't heard that one before.
Well,
I've heard lipstick on a pig.
Well,
but that's a different one.
It sort of reminds me of when I used to live in Vegas years and years and years ago, what they did to the downtown area. They put the
old town or the new town?
The old town. They put the roof thing over the top, which became that whole laser show thing.
What was the point of that? Was that supposed to of this thing?
Yeah, it was supposed to beautify and entice more people downtown because they were losing everybody up to the Strip.
And what was the result?
I think people would go down there to look at it. I think they did. Yeah. It's an attraction. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
So I think, yes, it did bring more people down there that wouldn't necessarily have gone down there because, for one thing, they didn't know about it. Most people that went to the Strip did not realize there was an actual downtown Vegas. The newer people, the old people obviously always went to the downtown Vegas part. But it was losing money, and it was slowly becoming really yucky. And then they put that big cover over the top, and everybody called it, you can't just put a cover over a toilet, basically. So that's, I guess, where I got that from. But it actually... It did help.
Well, we went to Fremont and the experience down there, I don't know, a couple years ago, I suppose. And yeah, it's a nice addition. And Old Town has a certain je ne sais quoi. I don't even know if that's
Would you have ever gone down there if you didn't? Would you have really gone down to the Old Town part? Before it was pretty run down.
So we got married. Well, I don't know. So the first time I'd ever been to Vegas was when we got married.
Okay.
And so we stayed at Planet Hollywood in the Strip area.
Right.
But we did head up to Old Town because, if I'm there for the first time, I got to see what it's all about.
Well, how did you know that it was even there? There was some marketing going on. It said, come down and do the experience of the Old Town.
There are signs that do that. The other thing, back to Shelton, that just completely irates me. The signs on the freeway. Food next right, tourist next right. These signs that promote business, There's nothing.
Right.
It's like tourist attractions. And no disrespect, but to me, Annie's Quilt Shop is not a tourist attraction.
Was that on the tourist
It used to be.
sign?
I don't know if it still is.
But if you're a quilter, it's totally.
Well, if you're a quilter.
Totally. But yeah, but what is downtown that's touristy?
The Tolly.
The Tolly, yeah, the Tolly.
But we don't see any promotion of that.
That's true, but a lot of people would totally love to know about that old train down here. I mean, that gets a lot of attention when people know about it because it's cool history.
Yeah. There's stuff to do down here. I just don't understand why there's work up a group fund or something and say downtown. Come downtown. Just look at it.
Downtown, yeah.
Whatever. We have got a mayoral debate for you coming up in about 25 minutes. And there are some great comments on some of these stories, including Marilyn Foster's top story of the day. County considers limiting pot shops. People have first started to comment on that, and we encourage you to not only comment, talk with your friends and neighbors about this, but also get in touch with the commissioners. Oliver writes a quote from Netherlands. I would still like to limit the number of shops and not having a free-for-all. Netherlands says. Oliver replies, what's wrong with a free-for-all? Isn't this supposed to be a free country? Good point.
That's a good point.
And again, they're not limiting any other legal businesses. They're not saying we can only have 2 pharmaceuticals. They're not saying we can only have 2
coffee shops. 2 brew pubs. I don't know about that, but there's quite a lot of bars.
Liquor stores. I mean, all that stuff.
Right.
I mean, who are you to limit one thing and not the other?
Right.
Interesting. All right, 7:45 at KMAS. Clayton David is coming in after our debate from the Pacific Northwest Salmon Center. And we're going to talk about summer chum and the season. If you can tell, looking outside, summer's over. So we need a recap on the summer chum program. And then I'm going to ask him about some places that we can maybe still go see the runs, the salmon runs. And we'll talk about the Union River Trap, which is a cool little thing that you can help volunteer at off and on.
So, Jeff, you get up early every day.
Yep.
Do you think that, do you sleep in on the weekends, an extra hour or so?
Actually, about 2 hours. I usually get up about 5:30 or 6 on Saturdays and Sundays.
So do you think that repays your sleep debt from not getting enough sleep during the week?
No. Last night I went to bed at 9, which I felt as though moving into the evening would have been okay. But at 4 this morning, it was
right.
It was a bad idea.
I totally agree. It's very hard because at night, because say Sunday night, I went to bed early, but I couldn't sleep. So I just laid there for like 3 hours. So last night, I'm like, okay, I'm staying up a little later. And plus, I'm not completely tired yet. Fell asleep, but I just didn't want to get up this morning.
Yeah, I don't buy this bankable sleeping hours. Like if I take a nap, we'll take a break here, but when we come back, we'll talk about this. I mean, I don't feel like if I take a nap for an hour, that means I've offset an hour. So we'll see what our stories have to say about this. Coming up next on Daybreak at 7:46.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Mountain View Women's Health has 4 excellent providers providing medical care to women of all ages. 3 board-certified obstetrician gynecologists and a highly experienced physician assistant answer the medical needs of women from puberty to menopause and beyond. Meet Dr. Alfred Vassell Jr., Dr. Mercedes Goebel, new team member Dr. Jackie Smith, and physician assistant Carly Jacobs, who offer women's services ranging from obstetrics and gynecological treatment to urodynamic testing and surgery, and coordinating with other specialties. They provide women with complete continuous care. To reach an expert at Mountain View Women's Health, call 426-0955.
Mountain View Women's Health is part of Mason General Hospital and family of clinics. Equal opportunity provider, translation services provided.
Mason General and family of clinics.
For local news 24/7, log on to KMAS.com.
To those who say, just as the sun rises in the east, so too must breakfast be enjoyed in the morning, McDonald's now says, Yeah, we don't really agree with that. Introducing McDonald's new all-day breakfast menu. Now you can get a hot and freshly made Egg McMuffin sandwich, hash browns, and other delectable breakfast tastes day and night. It's time to start enjoying the breakfast you love anytime you wish. Breakfast items vary by location. Deliciousness doesn't.
Some people say it's an excellent source of antioxidants.
And it tastes great.
Others say it can actually lower stress and soothe your senses.
And it tastes great.
It's even been said to reduce high blood pressure.
And it tastes great.
It's McCafe iced green tea, and it's brewed fresh daily with simple ingredients. So come into your locally owned and operated Northwest McDonald's and enjoy a delicious cup any time of day.
Hey!
And yes, as you might have already heard, it tastes great.
Thank you.
Price of participation may vary.
Hi, it's Dale from the Daybreak Show, inviting you to join Jeff Slakey and myself every morning from 6 till 9. We have what we think is a pretty compelling mix of news, information, and interviews.
Hi, this is Dick Taylor from the Port of Shelton.
Hi, this is Mike Patty, Assistant Chief with Central Mason Fire and EMS.
This is Detective William Adam at the Mason County Sheriff's Office.
This is Commissioner Randy Netherland, and you're listening to Daybreak.
Daybreak.
Daybreak. Daybreak with Jeff and Dale
On KMAS.
on KMAS.
On Newsradio 1030 KMAS.
Hey, this is Debbie Gibson on Daybreak News Radio KMAS.
Whoa, shake your love.
Blast from the past.
You listen to Debbie Gibson?
No, I never did.
So you were out of school before the big mall tours.
Oh, yeah.
Where would you have gone? So you were fun. There's a lot of folks here at the station that went to Tumwater. Carol and I both graduated from Tumwater in different years, but still, and a lot of folks around the area that went to Tumwater or have dealings with Tumwater, like, first one off the top of my head, Central Mason Fire EMS, Mike Patty.
Right.
And he was ...
What year he was?
No, was he your bus driver or something like that too?
At one point, yes.
What a small world.
Yeah.
All right. I don't remember why we were talking about Tumwater.
Debbie Gibson, but you got it into Tumwater. I'm not quite sure how you did that.
I was just wondering where you would have gone for one of these mall concerts.
I don't even think she was in this area.
She never came out here to Tacoma Mall or anything like that? South Center Mall? Her and NKOTB or Tiffany?
Well, maybe somewhere up north, but honestly, I don't remember. I wasn't in the area during that time when she was doing those mall tours, which is hilarious to think about.
It's about as exciting as like when Tom Cruise came to Aberdeen. Did you ever hear about that?
No.
Yeah, some kid won a contest when the first Mission Impossible came out.
Oh.
And he flew in on a helicopter and
really
at the old mall out there.
Huh.
Yeah, fun. All right, coming up in about 10 minutes, here's how it's going to all shake down here. Good morning to you. It's Daybreak, Jeff and Carol. It's about 53, and it's 7:51. So at 8 o'clock, we're going to have ABC News. And then at the conclusion of ABC News, we're going to disperse from Marilyn Foster, our local sports and weather reports, and then get into a great conversation featuring the mayor of Shelton, Gary Krantz, and the challenger to that race is Marilyn Vogler. This is put on by the Coalition for Common Good. So we are going to thank them very much for putting that on. We are going to be filming it. We got it on the YouTube, and you can tune in now and start watching the show on YouTube. We'll also record it and have it on the website for you probably by
noonish at the latest. Yeah. So it'll be audio and video on the website.
All right. When we last left you, I was trying to decide whether or not an hour's worth of nap was bankable in the fact that I am getting very little sleep with Kaiser Ruski.
And you probably will for about 18 years.
So what's the deal? Am I not? What's going on here?
Well, for one thing, long-term sleep debt is what they call it, long-term lack of sleep. They haven't really looked at the effects of that. They've only done it over a few nights or a few weeks. And one interesting thing that they did was during one sleep study, they had people into their lab, which I've always wanted to do a sleep study lab. I mean, how great is that? You have to sleep. Sorry, you have to sleep.
We're going to pay $100 to sleep.
I know. So the people were required to stay in bed for 14 hours a day. And at first they slept 10 to 12 hours a night, and then they gradually slept less until over the next few weeks they stabilized about 8.4 hours a night, which I think is pretty interesting.
So their body clock moved them to an 8.4.
Yeah, an average of 8.4.
I've heard that if we got back and got rid of all this light and we went back to a more sunrise, sunset agricultural community, our body clocks would be more like 28 or 32 hours as opposed to 24-hour clock. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, they say, less than 5 hours a night for 5 years has a 300% increased risk of hardened arteries, which is a weird thing to say. I mean, hardened arteries, I guess it's something about blood pressure or whatever. But if you sleep over 6 hours, your blood pressure can improve in just a few weeks.
Really?
Yeah. So it's really interesting. And they say the 20-minute nap, though, equates to about an hour of nighttime nap. If you can go somewhere in a dark room without any noise, 20 minutes of really good just
power nap.
Power nap, yeah.
I'm going to pass along a little tidbit that recently came into my nighttime routine. I snore bad, apparently, and have for a long, long time. And so Stephanie has been very accommodating, I suppose. She doesn't punch me in the face in the middle of the night and say, "Wake up, you're snoring."
She doesn't?
At least I don't know she does. So the other night, I guess it has gotten worse and worse. And so this past weekend, she says, "How about you try one of those breathe right strips? Kind of like a Biore nose strip. You stick it on your nose. It's supposed to help." And I said, "Sure. If you think it'll help you get some better sleep, then I'll try it. Put it on." I ain't kidding. The minute I put it on, I could breathe like I've never breathed in my nose before. It was, on the box, and there was an asterisk involved. It said get a 38% better night's sleep than if you use drugs like acetaminophen or something like that. And basically it is a hard plastic little thing that sits over your nose, and it's connected to a piece of tape basically. And it sticks to your nose and it opens up your nose passages. Huge. 3 nights now. From what I've been told, no snoring. And I've been getting, the quality of my sleep has improved. So
your blood pressure will be lowering.
Well, not after we have all these discussions and stuff. But yes, you're right. But blood pressure should be down. So if you snore, if your partner snores, why not try this thing? You can find them at any of your local retailers, and there are different levels. They even make one that I saw that is menthol scented. So if I'm sick,
right.
So definitely try that. And I was able to get 9 to 4. Actually, I was up at 3 this morning. So 9 to 3, 6 hours, and that was good deep sleep.
So it not only benefits your partner, it benefits you.
It actually did benefit me. The first night, I woke up and I didn't have the strip on my nose anymore. It was in my hair. So I'm not sure how that happened. But regardless, check them out.
Yeah.
And listen, if you buy them for your partner and they tell you to buzz off, there could be some deeper underlying issues.
Stuff that we cannot solve.
Can't solve
just
that.
On a radio
just
program.
On Daybreak this morning.
Exactly.
7:57, and a good morning to you. It is Daybreak here, gearing up for our conversation with Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler just after the ABC News, a couple minutes from now.
And then tonight.
Tonight we have the big demo debate live from the beautiful Wynn on the Strip. So not many folks heading to Old Town tonight. They'll all be at Wynn, the beautiful casino out there. Anderson Cooper moderating this debate. 5:30, just after Nick's news at 5:30, we'll head down to Las Vegas, have a great conversation with those folks running to be the Democratic presidential nominee. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Senator Bernie Sanders, Lincoln Chafee, Jim Webb, and Martin O'Malley are the scheduled. There is an extra podium just in case old Joe Biden decides to jump in. If he were to jump in, I would hope over the weekend he'd prepare.
I would imagine so. It wouldn't just be a random. It'd be a thought-out random.
That's true.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Can you tell the difference between fresh and canned pumpkin? There's only one way to find out, and that's next from the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report.
This is a referral service. Calls will be routed to an independent referral insurance agency.
Do you know the number one cause of bankruptcy? No, it's not losing your job or running up credit card debt. It's not even divorce. It's medical costs. If you and your family don't have health insurance, just one serious illness or accident could be financially devastating. But now there's good news, really good news. A health insurance hotline has been established to provide health insurance for all Americans, even uninsured Americans with pre-existing conditions. Now anyone can get health insurance even if you have a pre-existing medical condition. I repeat, now anyone can get health insurance coverage. Call now for a free no-obligation quote on affordable health plans available to you. Again, this is a free hotline for anyone, even if you have pre-existing conditions. Protect you and your family from sudden unexpected medical costs. Call the free health insurance hotline right now at 1-800-790-9836. That's 1-800-790-9836. Call 1-800-790-9836.
With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Tuesday, October 13th, the 286th day of the year. Folk singer Paul Simon has a birthday. Britain's Iron Lady Margaret Thatcher was born on this day, and baseball's first World Series was won by Boston in 1903. We don't know many people who start with fresh pumpkin when making pumpkin pie, but if you have a mind to try it, here's how. After scrubbing the gourd and scooping out the seeds and fiber, cut it into small pieces. Place those pieces, skin side up, in shallow water in a baking dish. Bake at 325 degrees until the pumpkin is fork tender. Cut away the shell and your fresh pumpkin will be recipe ready. A fun experiment might be to make the same recipe with canned pumpkin and see who can tell the difference. That is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
KMAS Shelton is now everywhere you are. AM 1030, FM 103.3, and online at KMAS.com.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Karen Chase. Will the Democratic presidential debate have a surprise contestant? The plot is thickening with Vice President Joe Biden's surprise trip to the airport this morning. ABC's Alex Stone has the latest numbers on all the known candidates.
Hillary Clinton heads into tonight's debate with a bit of a gain in her popularity among all adults and a strong advantage over Bernie Sanders among Democrats. But she's weaker among independents and very unpopular among Republicans. Overall, 47% of voters see Clinton favorably in the latest ABC News Washington Post poll. That's up from 45% in August. But 49% of voters overall view her unfavorably. 84% of Republicans have that view.
Planned Parenthood says it will no longer accept reimbursements for procuring fetal tissue for medical research. This after a series of videos were released by a conservative group showing agency workers discussing the sale. Planned Parenthood said the tapes were edited to mislead. No word on whether the 335 pink slips Twitter is sending out are written in 140 characters or less. The company is laying off about 8% of its workforce to improve efficiency. Teen texting may be more serious than anyone thought. ABC's Scott Goldberg has the details.
Substitute the dark rooms and casino bells for bright screens and mobile alerts. And this study of 8th and 11th graders finds for some of them, compulsive texting is a problem like gambling.
Beyond just the amount of text they were sending and receiving, they would feel compulsion to look at their phone when they weren't supposed to be looking at their phone. They had difficulty putting the phone away. They daydreamed about the phone when they didn't have it near them.
Lead author Kelly Lister Landman says girls are more likely to text compulsively than boys, and it can hurt their performance at school.
It turns out mom was right about carrots being good for your eyes. A new study found people who ate the highest amounts of yellow, red, orange, and dark green pigmented fruits and veggies had the lowest levels of macular degeneration. This is ABC News.
Attention business owners. We know that owning a business means getting things done right now. So if your right now list includes a new building, call the Right Now Company. General Steel. We can design a building for your business quickly and save you thousands of dollars. That's right, thousands. You may think General Steel only builds large projects or that you can't afford General Steel quality. Well, check these prices. How about a 40 by 60 foot building for under $22,000 or even a 50 by 100 for under $35,000? That's right, a 5,000 square foot building for under $35,000. And these buildings all have General Steel quality. Best of all, you can still order a building and have it delivered in time to build this year. How's that for right now? So don't delay. Call General Steel today at 888-98-STEEL. That's 888-98-STEEL. Need more planning? No problem. General Steel can help you with that right now. Call General Steel and be in your new building this year. 888-98-STEEL. That's 888-987-8335.
The awful truth about what happened to a Malaysian Airlines jet that went down in Ukraine last year has been revealed to grieving family members. ABC's Patrick Reevell has details.
The long-awaited report from the Dutch Air Safety Board found that flight MH17 was shot down by a Russian-made anti-aircraft missile, but investigators said they couldn't say who actually fired the missile or who was to blame. The victims' relatives were briefed separately. Barry Sweeney's son died in the disaster.
Hopefully, most people were unconscious by the time this happens, and death would have occurred pretty quick.
The investigation does, though, seem to fit other evidence that pro-Russian rebels accidentally hit MH17 with a missile supplied by Russia, and Russian officials have been very quick to cast doubt on the report. Patrick Reevell, ABC News.
A pizza delivery driver got the tip of a lifetime with a little divine intervention. She was bringing the pizza to a church where the pastor had just delivered a sermon on generosity. Congregants then passed around the collection plate and gave her $1,000. Karen Chase, ABC News.
Local news is brought to you by Fred Holmes Tree Service. FredHolmesTreeService.com, 427-4489.
You're listening to KMAS News Radio. I'm Marilyn Foster. The 1,000-foot buffer zone required between public schools, parks, and marijuana retailers is likely to remain the same in Mason County. The Mason County Commissioners discussed and agreed to maintain the buffer zone during a briefing session yesterday. Commissioners asked Department of Community Development Director Barbara Adkins to write a new ordinance with the buffer requirement and forward it to the County Planning Commission for consideration. The county commissioners would then reconsider the ordinance if the Planning Commission approves a new plan. The commissioners' discussion was prompted by state lawmakers recently reducing the buffer to 100 feet and allowing an unlimited number of shops in each of the state's counties. Chairman Randy Netherlands said he would still like to limit the number of shops and not have a, quote, free-for-all. The commissioners agreed to limit the number of marijuana shops to 2 in each of the county's 3 urban growth areas of Shelton, Allen, and Belfair. That would limit the number of recreational marijuana retailers to 6. The county has 4 recreational pot shops. Troopers in the District 8 region, which includes Kitsap, Mason, and Grays Harbor, are starting active enforcement of the new marijuana open container and vehicle law. The law went into effect late last month, which makes it illegal to consume or carry open containers of marijuana or marijuana-infused products in vehicles on a highway. Open means the original package, container, or receptacle that has been opened and the seal broken or contents partially removed. Sergeant Scott Gordon, based in Bremerton, advises that his troopers are seeing violations and are currently taking an educational stance with violators. But Gordon cautions that his troopers make individual enforcement decisions and actual tickets are possible at any point. It is a traffic infraction to violate the new law and carries a $136 fine. Motorists can legally carry open marijuana and infused products only in the trunk of the vehicle or in areas of the vehicle not normally occupied or directly accessible by the driver or passengers. KMAS News Radio is hosting 2 debates and a candidates forum. The second debate between Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler is this morning at 8 a.m. on Daybreak, moderated by Jeff Slakey and Dale Hubbard. The political forum is next Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. at the Mason Transit Community Center in Shelton. You're invited to attend the forum in person or listen to our live broadcast on KMAS AM 1030, FM 103.3, or online at KMAS.com. Candidates running for local offices, Mayor of Shelton, Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Port of Shelton Commissioner, and 4 positions on the Shelton School Board will be at the forum. I'm Mary Lynn Foster. Your local news at AM 1030 and FM 103.3, and always on KMAS.com.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line, by email or Facebook. Now, from somewhere in the wilderness of the Olympic Peninsula, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It's 8:08 here at KMAS, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale. And Carol's sitting in with me today and tomorrow. And morning, Carol.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well, and we have got a great half hour here for you on the radio. We're going to continue our political conversations. And this week, we welcomed Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler for a conversation to get to know them a little bit better. We had this last week with the Commissioner of Finance and Accounting, Mike Olson, and his challenger, Kathy McDowell. So no real kind of time restraints on the questions and the answers. Just going to have a good conversation. How you guys doing?
Good.
Pretty good. Good to have you. Good to have you here.
Good morning.
So let's kind of just get going. Mayor, we'll start with you. Why don't you just introduce yourself to any listener that may be unfamiliar?
Sure. Yeah, my name is Gary Krantz, and I am your current mayor of Shelton. And I ran for this position about 9 years ago against John Tarrant, and I lost, and I went home and sat there for 4 years, and I says, well, let's try it again. So I ran again, and I won. And I was born in Port Orchard or Bremerton, and I lived in Port Orchard the first half of my life. But then I migrated to Mason County 40 years ago and been quite active in the building community. And my wife and I currently, we own Case by Case Jewelers on Railroad Avenue, 16 years in business. So remember us at Christmas time. And being a mayor is a part-time job, but I have managed to put in pretty much full-time hours, which I think that lots of time the citizens expect and deserve. And so it's been a pleasure being the mayor. I'm running for re-election again. There's a lot of things I'd like to see accomplished. I'm excited about Shelton and excited about Shelton's future. So that's my intro.
Cool. Very good. Marilyn?
I'm Marilyn Vogler. I moved to Shelton about 4.5 years ago after I retired. I had occasion to visit for a couple of weeks, stayed a third, and went back to Michigan and put my house on the market. I had decided this was the place I would like to make my home. I've been active in a variety of boards and committees, Park Rec, Area Agency on Aging, the library, currently the Poverty Advisory Team. And I've been sitting in on the commission for about the past 2.5 years, listening to what's going on. I'm running because I think a fresh set of eyes, questions from somebody that hasn't been here her whole life will be useful in shaping the future forward.
All right. Well, let's kind of get underway, and I'll start with you, Marilyn. And you kind of just mentioned it, but I got to know, lifetime residents here, long-time residents here. Maybe see you come in and 4.5 years you moved here. Why should longtime folks trust you into running the city?
Well, I think that trust has been established over the time I've been working, like I said, with various groups and committees. I've had a lot of support from people that I've worked with in parks. I've made a number of comments on issues before the City Commission. I've had very positive feedback on those. I think people see me as someone who comes in with a different sort of question. I was at a meeting of the Housing Coalition and Executive Board, and as we were breaking up, I apologized for having taken so much time with discussion and questions. And Barb Weezer said to me, well, you know, Marilyn, you ask questions we wouldn't even think to ask. And so while you wouldn't want a commission made up entirely of people who'd moved here in the last 4.5 years, I think having one person balances the commission with folks who have a lifetime of experience, who know the community, who know the history, with someone who can come in and look at things and hear things and, as I said, ask a different kind of question maybe.
Other than knowing a lot of folks around the community, Gary, do you see any other inherent benefit of being a local when it comes to running a city like this?
I do, because I believe that as a mayor of a city, I chose to move right down on Coda Street when I first started this process like 10 years ago. And I believe being active in the community on many boards. I've been on the Economic Development Council board for like 25 years. I've been an active member in the Chamber of Commerce. I've been on many different committees, the MACECOM board. I've been on the Criminal Justice board. And I think that being in a community, and again, I've been here for like 40 years. So you've seen the positives, the negatives, the change. You've lived through them. And so I think it's good to have that experience. It's not crucial. I'm not saying that Maryland couldn't do a good job just being here 4 years, but at the moment it's my job, and I'm protecting my job because one thing that people have to understand too, being a mayor, you're not a dictator. You're merely one vote. And I think I have shown a consistent habit of not always going along with the flow, because I believe that a phrase that I like, and I think it's true in my life, is my loyalty belongs to the ratepayers. I respect the state and federal governments, but I negotiate with them. I don't negotiate with the ratepayers. The ratepayers are always right, and I will always protect their rights and their input. And so I put them number one on who I would serve. So anyway, I think having those relationships for 40 years is good.
Okay. Moving on. So Gary, let's talk a little bit about policy things. You have put off into your statements, and actually you brought it on the air here with our video voters guide, the award you received from the Association of Washington Cities. And from the website, I have this quote here. Mayor Krantz spent countless hours educating cities and legislators across the state about the challenges facing smaller cities in paying for wastewater system upgrades. He sought ways to obtain funding for these needs along with other AWC, that's Association of Washington Cities, priorities. So I just was wondering if you could talk to us about how specifically the city has benefited from this coalition, and in relation to how much time you've spent personally and city monies for this group.
Absolutely. This has been like my pet project, because we have one major basin project to complete. That's Basin 3. And when I came into office, I know that the citizens that I talk to and deal with, they're quite concerned with the city debt. And putting another $6.5 million onto that role was not my goal and my favorite thing to do. So what I did is I decided to, let me just read, I'll just read this little statement right here. And this will probably kind of, this is what I prepared. It says that when the state came to us with an unfunded mandate, the state says, we want you have to do this Basin 3. It's called an unfunded mandate. They offered us a $1.3 million grant, okay, and a low-interest loan. And everybody brags about, oh, gee, it's a low-interest loan. Oh, man, these are going to go away. We got to have, with a low-interest loan, you still have payments. And so what I did is most cities, they accept this deal and they just give the bill to the ratepayers and they get on with life. But I took it on myself personally to, because my loyalty is to the ratepayers, is to look at any and every possible option to not have to use the ratepayers' money to pay for that $6.5 million project. So I got in my car, I drove to Olympia, I went to Maya Bellin, the director of Department of Ecology, and I sat down with her to negotiate a better deal. And through that process, I formed the Sewer Funding Coalition under the heading of AWC, Association of Washington Cities. That was our, framework, because that's all of the cities in the state belong to that. And by doing that, I found 30 other cities, and actually Mason County joined in also, 30 cities plus Mason County. And what we did is we lobbied our legislators on the fact that small cities like Shelton are faced with these huge sewer bills, and our income of our ratepayers is so low that as we know, the outcome of that is water and sewer and garbage bills of $150 to $200 a month. And so when what I did is I formed the coalition on my own time. Not 1 hour did I bill the city of Shelton. I did not give the city of Shelton any bills for my mileage on my car. This was totally separate of my duties as mayor of this city. And I did it. And what happened is 2 years later, we just found the figures out yesterday that $1.3 million grant in the beginning is now up to $3.4 million. And if you read a letter to the editor today, Senator Sheldon will tell you that $1.5 million that came out of the capital budget last year was because I was over there bugging him every week and our other legislators saying we have to have this money, and we got it. And so I'm very thankful. We moved it up to $3.4 million in grants, which means about a $3.1 million in loan. And I'm not done yet. In fact, at our city commission meeting yesterday, I said, if the Department of Ecology can give us one more year, I will go back and I'll get another $2 million out of the capital budget, which will then bring that up to about $5.4 million, which would be about $1 million shy. And if we have to borrow that money, so be it. I fought the fight, but all of this effort is totally aside of any meetings or any work I did for the city. This is all my program. I ran it. And in fact, Friday, we're having another meeting over at AWC to continue building this coalition. And we're looking at the coalition of 30 cities to hopefully grow to 50 cities, 70 cities, because when the state gives you an unfunded mandate, they don't care. And right now, the term 40 million, the term 50 million has been thrown out there, and we've debated this. This is straight from our financial department head. She told me that if this city commission approves the next phase of our water expansion plan, we haven't approved that yet, but if we approve that $4.5 million phase, which I will vote against, the city of Shelton will be approximately $60 million in debt. And it is a concern to me. It's a concern to the citizens. And I am trying to stop that. And the way you stop that is you have to sometimes say no to projects that look good and could be good for the future of Shelton. But are they beneficial today for our ratepayers? Do we need them today? That's why sometimes I vote no.
Okay,
Gary.
Marilyn,
Yeah.
What say you? Let's talk about this.
I know you spent your own money, your own time on the sewer coalition, but I also believe it's true that Dave O'Leary spent a lot of hours traveling. I believe the city paid an intern to work on this project, so it wasn't completely free of city money.
No.
And I certainly appreciate the work that was done. I think it's important. But I think we need to consider relatively how much work went into this. When you talk about unfunded mandates, if you go back to 2007, we had a big part of this burden put on us because over 700 acres of Oakland Bay were prohibited for shellfishing because of discharge from Shelton's wastewater treatment plant. We were having such problems with infiltration and inflow in our sewer pipes that we were under a building moratorium. It never really hit because we had, I think I was told, 40 hookups that we were allowed, and before we got moving on repairing these things, taking care of the maintenance, we hadn't reached the limit. And so it was a mandate put in place because we had not been maintaining systems that we had. We hadn't, and during all of that time, we didn't raise sewer rates noticeably. And so push has come to shove, that this was long overdue. We're paying for it now. And while, yes, it would be nice if we could increase the amount of money that comes without having to pay it back, it is work that has to be done to bring in the water system. We had an increase, I believe, that came to about $1 a month. 75% of that was not involved in loans. It was operations and inflation. If we add the additional $4.5 million loan, we make Shelton Hills development more possible because that provides pressure and fire flow for that part of the world. That $4.5 million loan will add only 18 cents, will account for only 18 cents of rate increases that have already been implemented. So we're not talking about additional rate increases. We're talking about developing our infrastructure so that we can move forward economically.
Well, Marilyn, you mentioned Shelton Hills, and so let's jump ahead. I have that in here. Gary?
Could I respond to one comment here? And then Marilyn responded to my comment. Sure. Marilyn, I wasn't here when we did the new sewage treatment plant. Had I been here, I still would have tried to negotiate a better deal. I wasn't here through all the other basins. Had I been here, I would have still tried to negotiate a better deal. My loyalty belongs to the ratepayers. And so what happens is none of what I'm talking about is what has happened in the past. And Dave O'Leary's time on the Sewer Funding Coalition was authorized and voted by this commission to do that. It was all voted on. And the result is moving a number from 1.3 million to 3.4 million in grants. Time well spent.
Now, Gary, is that money for the grants? Is that for Shelton proper, or is that for the coalition?
No. What are you talking about? This 3.4 million?
Well, any of the money that you have worked with these 30 cities and Mason County, is that? I mean, that money is not guaranteed to Shelton. If a municipality came in that was even worse off than we were. Would they then get the bulk of that money? And then what did Shelton then get out?
Sure. Well, they can apply through the capital budget process just as we did. But we went a little more aggressively. And part of the coalition is educating legislators, including the governor himself. I met with the governor himself one-on-one to discuss this issue, and he understands their issue. Part of it is educating them on what these effects are on small cities. And I'm not against infrastructure. I'm for it. I'm for infrastructure 100%. But how you pay for it, if you have other options rather than the ratepayers, I would always go that way first.
Okay, so let's move on to Shelton Hills. Marilyn brought it up. So if we got a call today saying we are ready to turn dirt, Gary, we'll start with you. Do you feel as though Shelton Hills is ready to go right now? They make the call, we start digging.
Absolutely. And it is my goal. This is a priority, is to get that development up and running. And we are working with, it should be soon. Hopefully they're looking to start digging in like January. So we're really right on the edge. So my goal is to continue to watch over city staff, make sure that there are no roadblocks in our way. And yes, we are all ready to move forward with that. I feel comfortable with that. Also, our new mill downtown, that's a priority. Also, the downtown Shelton visioning, that's a priority. These are three priorities that I think are extremely beneficial to Shelton.
So the water systems and the infrastructure is ready to go. It's right at the edge of Shelton Hills. As far
at this stage in the process, yes, there is nothing that we have already been preparing for this, and there is nothing that we can do or that we haven't done that is not ready for the first phase of Shelton Hills.
Marilyn, you agree with that?
What I have heard from staff is that this second half, or essentially the third phase of the Mountain View pressure zone, is important for continued development in Shelton Hills. It may or may not be necessary for the first commercial building that I think they have a promise or an agreement with, but I think it's important as a show of faith on the part of Shelton, that we are willing to support all of the expense and work that Hall Equities is having to put in to initiate this development. I believe there's going to be work on the entrance to Highway 101 that they're responsible for. I have heard that there is a power substation that has to go in that they will be at least largely responsible for. And so they're incurring tremendous expenses in building part of the infrastructure. They will need this other water line before they can, at least according to what staff has told me, before they can develop extensively up there. And, you know, Shelton Hills is something I have supported in public comment from early on in the process. Trying to sort out the issues of Goose Lake from what actually is Hall Equity's responsibility, encouraging them that as they plan for such an extensive growth in residential area, that they take into consideration variety of housing, that Shelton has had a tremendous dearth of affordable homes. that they need to consider a variety of housing. And so I've been encouraging progress in Shelton Hills all along, and I think the city needs to say, yes, we are willing to invest in your long-term future by putting in these bits and pieces of infrastructure.
Yesterday on the newscast in the afternoon, our reporter Nick Scott had a story about the state and that the taxes coming into the state are more consistent than the beginning of the recession. And by all accounts, the state of Washington has moved itself out of the recession. And when I look around and talk to folks around here, and we talk about things that are going on, it feels like Shelton perhaps may be going in the opposite direction. The mills are closing, OPP is closing, things like that. We're not getting much in growth with business and housing. Marilyn, and then Gary, I'll give you a chance to defend your city. But Marilyn, where do you see on that? Do you think that the state has rebounded, and for whatever reason, Shelton has yet to rebound, or perhaps going the wrong way? And how can we fix that?
That's certainly what I have read. I know when I drive through Olympia, the growth they're experiencing is really obvious. They build housing and build developments and retail and commercial. And I've heard certainly that Mason County is one of the few in which the recession hasn't really ended. In part, I think it can be fixed by simply looking at our attitude toward development. I know there's been some discussion on the KMAS forum that I did some looking into about a fellow from Seattle Marcus Charles, who was an entrepreneur that as soon as 502 was passed legalizing marijuana, came to the city of Shelton wanting to purchase the Rainier building and open an operation here. I don't know what happened to it. It seems to have fallen into a black hole, but I know various news sources. The Seattle Times reported that our elected officials were divided. The Washington State Wire cited us as having shied away from it. I met a woman from Raymond at a wedding reception over the weekend, and I was chatting with her, and she said, well, yeah, they're really building development. We welcome them. And I said, well, he came to Shelton first. And she said, well, yes, I know. And Shelton told him you didn't want him. And so somehow we have to somehow be more visionary than we're being. We have to be willing to take risks. We have to be willing to look to the future and see where we're going. And again, this is one of those things that I think I can bring because I've lived in 8 or 9 different cities in half a dozen different states. I've seen a lot of different ways of doing things. And I don't know, when you read about why Raymond and Willapa County, which is where he then went, have had such success with this, it was a welcoming local government. So I think we need to be that welcoming local government, and the growth in Raymond is tremendous. They've had 70 full-time jobs, 50 part-time. They're projecting 500 jobs. Have built a 20-acre industrial park that's looking to $100 million in investment with assessed values in the 600,000 plus. That's tremendous.
Gary, please.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you said I need to defend the city. Well, I can defend the policies that I would want to put in place and the things that I think would help in developing Shelton and seeing Shelton grow. I think we're our own worst enemy. I think Marilyn and I could agree that we have not had quite the welcoming committee to new businesses. I've sat in on different meetings at different times, and what Shelton did, and rightfully so, and I've defended John Tarrant and the past commissions for what they did is they were anticipating 7 new home developments to coming into the city. This is 10, 11 years ago. They were anticipating 3,000 potential new homes, and they set regulations in place which were close to Olympia's on if you wanted to come in, you had to pay this so that the infrastructure would be paid for by growth, okay? But what happened is they didn't have a crystal ball. They didn't know the future, and none of those developments happened. So the ratepayers, existing ratepayers, have been the burden of all of the costs of all this infrastructure, okay? And that was just a mistake that happened, that sometimes you got to leave room for plan B, but at that time, the excitement of all these new home developments coming online, we had to get them to pay, rightfully so. But now we have shut the doors to builders in the city. We've averaged 2 homes a year for like the past approximately 8 or 9 or 10 years, 2 homes a year.
And I think one of those was Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah, absolutely. And because we have a $20,000 hit before a builder would get a structural engineer, an architect, a backhoe, a whatever. We have policies that were set up for a massive amount of growth to come in. So what happened is the builders just left town and said, give us a call when you can make it cost effective for us to do business. I have many times, and if you check my voting record, many times tried to get these fees lowered, impact fees lowered, and I have felt resistance to doing that. But I think people are kind of coming around to that. You cannot expect a builder or a homeowner to come in and build on our city lot if, when they're done, their product costs more than what the product is worth. So,
and I think where we're going with this is that somehow the city has to be, I guess a way to put it would be lighter on its feet. It has to be more perceptive in knowing
absolutely
how to change direction, how to say, whoa, that's not working. I've talked to...
I
interrupted you, sorry.
Half an hour. I was just starting and you took it over. But good for you. That's the signs of what a good politician does is take. But I wanted to say that I'm not against staff. None of this is the staff's fault over here in what we're doing. They are directed by the commissioners. And basically, there's not been a consensus. We do not concur that we needed to lower these a moratorium's a great thing. You put a moratorium on some of these fees for a year. You start inviting the builders back. Says, come on, guys. We're tired of seeing these houses more and more get boarded up and less new homes coming in, and you have to make it cost effective, and then you can put that thing right back to $20,000 a lot, and I'm not against that. But the economic time and what we're doing now, we need to give some incentives to encourage, to jumpstart the small business community, the neighborhoods, the builders to come in and repair our neighborhoods. And we are 10 years late on that subject. But I tried to do this a long time ago.
All right, so let's we're zipping right through this conversation. Again, we're talking with the Shelton Mayor Gary Krantz and his challenger Marilyn Vogler. This conversation put on by the Coalition for Common Good. Carol's got some questions for you regarding day one, and so let's plan on it. Carol, go ahead. Let's talk about this day one.
Okay, Marilyn, we're going to start with you. If you were elected, what happens on day one, and how would you do things differently immediately?
I would move, and in fact have already encouraged current commissioners to move to a briefing, a commission briefing pattern similar to what the county does. I believe briefings need to be open public meetings. I think they would be much more efficient for staff time. As currently happens, commissioners are briefed individually, and there's very little chance for discussion among them. I think more discussion would yield much better decisions. I would announce immediately that I was going to be at various local restaurants once a week with what I'd call a mayor's table. Invite anyone who wanted to come sit and talk and share ideas with me in open discussion. One of my campaign points or hopes is to really listen to and invite open participation among anyone in the community who feels like venting or sharing ideas or just coming to sit and listen.
Gary, your first day, if you were to continue on, and what have you done? What would you do differently than the last 4 years?
Well, I don't know that I would do anything. I mean, I've not changed. My position's been the same for 10 years, and I'm just not into changing my position. We have to put a moratorium on some of these hookup fees and these impact fees in our residential neighborhoods.
How do you do that day one?
Day one, if the commission concurs, I would accept a motion that for 1 year we would put a moratorium on water and sewer hookup fees and impact fees in these residential. Now, these are not big developments. These are just infill lots in the residential. And I believe that would jumpstart. We would start seeing trucks running around town with lumber racks on them. We would see architects working. We would see new families moving into neighborhoods. And we would see a gradual increase in our income to the city because of this. But we have to recognize if something's not working, we got to change it.
Okay.
So that would be one thing I would do. I would also take a hard look at our sidewalks to nowhere plan, which we've been kicking around for like 20 years. And every time we try to improve it, we make it worse. I know a builder just lately paid a $6,000 fee just to be able to, on top of the $20,000 fees, just to be able to get onto his lot and to build it as a $6,000, just a waive that he's not going to put a sidewalk in. And we have to take a look at this and have a much more common sense approach. If you have two lots on either side of yours and there's no sidewalks and people are used to the path in front walking through, just let it be. If you have an existing sidewalk to connect to, then yes, it's your responsibility to connect to that sidewalk. But we have just overregulated this thing and made it very unpopular to do business here, that we've got to open this community up and actually give some incentives, and those fees can always be brought back. I am definitely into funding infrastructure through these processes, but we need a jump start. So.
And you know, Gary, that I have spoken out loudly and consistently against sidewalk and frontage requirements.
I know. There's many things, Marilyn, I agree upon.
All right, so finally we are, it's 8:40 here, and this has gone a little bit longer than we anticipated, but this is a good
thank you for that time.
Hey, we're having fun.
We ended the last debate with this same question, and Marilyn, we'll start with you. How are you different from Gary?
I come from a background of academic research and library reference work. It leads me to a process of investigation and thoroughly looking into resources, information, building that kind of resource before I make decisions. I think the big difference is that I have been here only 4.5 years, but I bring with me tremendous experience in university administration, where I have done strategic planning, I have done program review, I was responsible for managing, designing a major a software transition when the university where I was working had to change the software that interfaced our international students program with Homeland Security. And that was my project, from choosing the software or being involved in that choice to managing the students who were then turning all of our paper records into digital records. And so I have dealt with issues of this sort. I've personally managed a $4 million budget in student assistance funding and worked with a very contentious group of departments over who got funding and which faculty got more, and brought some reason to that. And so I bring a breadth of administrative experience. And as I said, fresh eyes and ears and a habit of really asking more questions sometimes than are welcome.
And Gary, the same question to you. How are you different than Marilyn?
Well, I think probably the main thing is that I'm a self-made successful entrepreneur. I've worked very few jobs for other people in my life, and that when I approach a business, I approach the city just like I would a business. If you're not having any growth, then you need to change the policy to encourage that growth. And I know that when faced with like the Basin 3 experience, I got in my car, I went right to the department heads, I went right to the governor, lieutenant governor, on down. I have a stack of meeting folders, probably 20, 30 high, on all of different meetings. I went to Eastern Washington, I met with home builders, realtors, I met with all these people and explained that we needed help in funding. And so I am probably, we all have different gifts. Maryland has gifts that would be for mine, but mine is to get in there, get the job done, get the city moving, and I have the general contracting experience to get this mill up and running, to get Shelton Hills going. And I don't always say yes when staff comes with a request. And I'll tell you what, if this $60 million in debt is appalling. It is very, very, I take it very, very personally. And this is a high priority with me, where I don't think it is with Maryland.
All right, we'll leave it right there. You guys will have one more chance to get in front of your constituents during our candidates forum on October 20th. It's a week from today in the evening from the Mason Transit Authority's Transit Community Center. So that'll be another great discussion. Thank you so much.
Actually, Jeff, if I could add, we also have a candidates forum at 2 o'clock this afternoon out at the pavilion, sponsored by the League of Women Voters. And we have a forum Thursday evening, the 15th, at the Transit Center that's sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, so there's still quite
a few.
All right.
A parting thought. I want to thank Maryland for not personally attacking me, and me not personally attacking in this political thing.
We had a good conversation.
Yes,
and it's been a good campaign on both sides.
Very good.
All right. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Marilyn. All right. So we're way past our time. We're going to move in here now to the morning stock numbers. And Karen Shade, I think, has been waiting patiently on the line. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
What's up with Wall Street this morning?
Well, U.S. stocks reversed early losses and are trending higher despite data that showed Chinese imports fell 20% in September due to the weak domestic demand, a further indicator that the world's second largest economy may be slowing. In corporate news, Anheuser-Busch announced it has reached an agreement in principle to acquire its brewing rival SABMiller for $104 billion in a deal that would rank in the top 5 mergers in the corporate history. On the earnings front, Johnson & Johnson reported better than expected quarterly earnings, but revenue was light as the impact of a strong dollar more than offset higher sales of its mainstay older drugs. U.S. bond prices are higher. So far this morning, the S&P 500, the best performing sector is healthcare, while the worst performing sector is consumer staples. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 30 points at 17,162. The Standard & Poor's 500 index is up 0.6 at 2,016, and the NASDAQ Composite Index is up 18 points at 4,857. This morning, volume on the New York Stock Exchange is moderate, with 210 million shares being traded, and advancers are outnumbering decliners by roughly 3-2 margin. In the commodity markets, the spot price of gold is up $2.84 to $1,166.69, and the spot price of silver is up 15 cents to $15.98. And crude oil prices are up $1.16 to $48.26. In the bond markets, the 30-year Treasury yield is currently 2.91%, and the 10-year Treasury yield is 2.07%. Stocks of local interest: Amazon is down $1.84, Costco is down a penny, Boeing is down 52 cents, Starbucks is up 2 cents, and Microsoft is down a penny. This is Karen Shade of Edward Jones, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-term financial advice. I'm located at 1051 Southeast State Route 3 in Shelton. And if you'd like additional information, you can contact me at 426-4590. And daily commentary is also located on our website at edwardjones.com.
It's Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio. Join the guys as they talk with neighbors, newsmakers, and each other, getting your day off to the absolute best possible start in the history of mornings. Connect with Jeff and Dale through the KMAS listener line by email or Facebook. Now, from the capital of the great state of Washington, Daybreak with Jeff and Dale.
All right, good morning to you. It's 8:46, and Carol and I are in studio here, and we are happy that you have decided to start your morning with us on Daybreak. And that was a good conversation, Carol.
It was a good conversation. I could have kept it going.
We could have gone. Yeah. We could have done that for a whole nother hour at least. But we have another special guest in studio right now. Switching gears, and Clayton David is in. He's a salmon and steelhead biologist. Comes to us by way of the Pacific Northwest Salmon Enhancement Center. The Hood Canal Salmon Enhancement Group is what it is. Morning, Clayton.
Good morning.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's hard to come up follow up after a nice conversation.
I know, that was pretty good. It was
good
nice,
radio.
Nice to hear those the folks running for mayor. All right, so we're going to talk about the Union River Trap and the summer chum season.
Yeah, so we had a pretty good year this year. Last year we only got 676 summer chum back. This year we're nearly double that, or not quite, but 1,230 fish passed by the trap. Plus quite a few Chinook and a lot of pinks this year came in. So it's been a very good year. It's been encouraging.
Why?
Well, it's encouraging because we're actually trying to restore the summer chum in Hood Canal because they're listed as threatened on the endangered species list. And the Union River has been somewhat of a success story when it comes to that restoration, as well as the Tulia River. This year we had several hundred and maybe even some thousands, the numbers aren't quite in yet, come back to the Tulia River, which is good because 12 years ago, some of you may not know, but there was none coming back to the Tulia River. So our program has really set up a positive restoration there. Not only that, but we've been able to affect some local change in Belfair and the surrounding areas here because of our extensive volunteer program at the Summer Chum Trap. You may or may not know, but the trap is actually manned 24/7, 7 days a week for 2 months, and it's roughly 2,500 volunteer hours. That has really allowed us the ability to spread the word about this program and get people aware of what they do when it comes to coexisting with salmon-bearing streams.
So did you think the drought affected your total count?
So this year, the drought probably hasn't affected our count. There is a possibility with the higher temperatures in Hood Canal that we did lose some chum out there, and there has been some predatory feeding by seals and things like that because there was some smaller fish kills earlier in the summer. So there is a possibility it has affected us. We won't really know that for a few years to come still. We'll start monitoring, continue to monitor the summer chum and see if it correlates any with the drought years that we've had here. Luckily, the Union River is actually a spring-fed and reservoir-fed river, so the water levels didn't get too low this year. The temperatures in the river themselves they got higher earlier, but they didn't get to a dangerous level at any point in time. We've been monitoring it this whole summer, so I think we're doing okay. We'll have to see, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about summer chum, and then you mentioned some are like steelhead and pinks and stuff. Now, did those fish get lost, or how did they end up there? Were they supposed to be there?
Yeah, they are. The Union River and many of the Hood Canal streams don't have any prolific or really abundant Chinook runs, but we do have a few Chinook that come in every year. And then the pinks are in every odd year fish, and they come back in pretty good numbers. In fact, they come back in larger numbers than all the other salmon runs combined. So we're not surprised to see them in there this year, being an odd year, and we've seen them in good numbers. Back to the drought thing just a little bit too, because this correlates. I'm a little bit concerned about the coho this year. We haven't seen a big mass of coho come into the Union at all. I've talked with many fishermen around Hood Canal and some of my own experiences, and we're seeing very few numbers of coho, and they're kind of small this year, it seems like. And it may be that they're just waiting for more water to come in a little late this year, but that remains to be seen. But it's interesting, so.
Something to watch.
Fall is here, so we're assuming the end of the summer chum season, but I mean, you don't pull up shop and leave. What happens in the fall and the winter on the Union River and things like that?
So in years past, we have kind of pulled shop and left. But this year, I'm actually trying to implement, along with Fish and Wildlife, juvenile monitoring out-migration on the Union River this year to gain that information, which we haven't had before. And to really help us figure out how self-sustaining the Union River run is and the mortality rate from smolt to adults and things like that, so we can kind of pinpoint where the problems are.
So you only count the fish coming back? You don't have an idea of how many left?
Well, that's actually very true. And we don't always have all the resources to count all the fish that we want to count. But this year I'm trying to get that going, and we're working real hard on doing it. It'll be an opportunity for some more internships to come up this fall or this winter, and a lot more volunteer time too. So
one of the things, and we've talked about this before, and basically, stop me if I'm wrong, but you'll go out to this place, and then every hour or so you go out and you see what fish have kind of collected, and there's even some four-legged friends that kind of want to see what's going on. It's a pretty unique experience for a volunteer. If those opportunities arise, how can somebody volunteer, and kind of what are the requirements?
Well, we don't have a lot of requirements. You have to have pass a background check and stuff like that, which is as most people is not going to have a problem with. But you just need to have a passion for salmon recovery and wanting to learn, and an enthusiasm for that. It always helps to be in decent physical shape, especially some of our overnight shifts and things like that. It can be a little rough because it gets a little cold. We try to provide all the amenities like electricity and heat and things like that. But just basically having a passion to want and get involved, and maybe help educate others on how we can help bring back our salmon runs. That's really what you need.
I mean, I totally believe in all creatures should be protected, but so somebody's sort of like, well, what is salmon really doing for me? Okay. I mean, is this project that you guys do help educate others about why this is important?
Yeah, it does. Ecologically, sociologically, culturally, a lot of us know that salmon are really, and economically too, salmon are really important to the Pacific Northwest. And some people may say, well, summer chum, I don't really care about them too much because they don't taste very good and I don't like to fish for them or whatever. But having a really biodiverse ecosystem in our watersheds is very, very much really important for the other species of salmon as well, because everything's interconnected. If we were to lose an entire species of salmon in Puget Sound, it would definitely impact everything quite a bit. You wouldn't have as big trees. You may not have as many other animals around. There's definitely going to be big impacts to that sort of thing. So spreading the word and helping people to educate about how important the salmon are to us that's my passion and my goal in life, and I value that highly.
There's been a lot of pictures downtown Olympia, there right near where the Capitol Lake is. They have see the salmon running. Is that still happening around the area? Can people still go to like Kennedy Creek maybe, or places where they can still see like the last little bits of the fish?
Yeah, that's definitely slowed down quite a bit. And so there's not going to be hundreds of fish in the river like there was maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. But like I said, there's coho runs should still be coming in, and there will be opportunities at any of those places you just mentioned to see the coho when they are here. So people can go out and still see the salmon. It's not over yet.
And the Salmon Center is located just off of Highway 3 in Belfair, right next to the Theller Community Center.
Yep.
Beautiful facilities, and the website
is pnwsalmoncenter.org.
And that's where you can find out more information about Clayton, about the projects that he works on, and upcoming volunteer opportunities. Always a great time talking with you. We do learn a lot, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate it.
That's Environmentally Sound this morning. We'll take a break and then come back to start to wrap things up here on a Tuesday here at KMAS.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
At Miracle Ear, we care about your hearing health, and we invite you for a free hearing screening. At Miracle Ear, we approach things with a personal touch. We want to help you regain your sense of sound so you can hear all the special things in life, like I love yous, the laughter of grandchildren, or your favorite radio show. Schedule your free hearing screening at Miracle Ear today by calling 529-0008 and asking for Leona. That's Leona at 529-0008.
Excuse me, ma'am.
We're trying to sleep here.
Yes, ma'am, but this isn't a motel. It's the Olympia Furniture Company showroom.
I just couldn't wait to try it out. I figure it's kind of like a test drive before you take the car home, right?
Here at Olympia Furniture Company, we offer home delivery. We'll even set it up for you.
But we kind of live far out in Mason County.
That's no problem. Let's ring you up so you can get home.
Oh, right. Well, he's a very hard sleeper. Do you think you could just put him in with the new furniture?
The Olympia Furniture Company delivers more than just furniture. They deliver quality, value, huge selection, and the occasional husband.
Hi, this is Alex Jones, and you're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Well, good morning to you. Got about a minute here, Carol. You coming in tomorrow?
If I can get up.
No, I mean, you are scheduled to be here tomorrow, I should say.
Yes, I am scheduled to be here tomorrow.
All right. Well, good. We'll have another great day of fun conversations. We do highly appreciate you for sticking with us during this mayoral debate, and it'll be up on the website later this morning. We'll get it for you to pass along to all your, oh my gosh, can you believe what they said, blah, blah. So you'll be able to pass along all the great information from Gary Krantz, the current mayor, and Marilyn Vogler, his challenger for mayor. Great conversations. They mentioned a couple other things going on regarding politics, something at the Senior Center today, and then the chamber is putting something on next week.
This Thursday,
on the 15th. They said the 15th,
which
Maryland
is
Day.
Thursday.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, today's the 13th.
Oh my gosh, I'm so confused. And then we have our candidates forum on the 20th.
You need that sleep, that extra hour.
I do. And tonight we have the first Democratic debate, 5:35. Thanks, Carol. Have a good day.
You too.
You're listening to Daybreak with Jeff and Dale on KMAS News Radio.
Is your family doing some growing? Whether it's an expansion of your home or the addition of a new family car, Peninsula Credit Union can provide fast, friendly service with terrific rates.